What's happening, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hey, how's it going out there? Live again. All aboard. That's right. Doing the Patreon stream, which I'm trying to do, try to do once a month. If you want to join, feel free to join. It's the, if you have to, I got to adjust the tiers when it comes to the Patreon. It's something I've been thinking about with certain adjustments I want to make to it. But yeah, if you're, the dollar one's just for like, hey, showing support. The other ones, yeah, if you're in one of those, then you can join. You can join because I'm about to post the link right there for everybody to join on the Patreon right there. What's going on, guys? Sup? Jason here. Good to see you as always. Stephanie, you too. What's going on, Caesar? Alaksu. So yeah, just gonna talk to the people that help support the channel, which is like I'm always grateful for. Every little bit counts, it does help to keep this thing going and everything like that. So yeah, so I figured, one of the things, why not just come on here and we'll chat? It's all good stuff. So yeah, man, congratulations to the Bengals and the Rams. That's right. I know my dad's happy because he's a Rams fan, so he's very happy right now, especially since my brother's a Niners fan, so they had a bet going. Niners, you know what? The Niners need a quarterback. That's all I got to say about that is they need a quarterback a little more. I don't know. I don't think Jimmy G, that pretty boy Jimmy G, I don't know if he's going to be coming back next year. I would not be surprised if he doesn't come back because he's just not like there's been some times where he can pull off some things, and then there's sometimes where it's like in the heat of the moment he just can't. And if you saw that last play, it was a lot of pressure on. He tried to do something and it didn't work out, where the ball got tipped up and got intercepted, and then that was it. Yeah, you know what, Jimmy G, I don't know if he's going to end up somewhere else. I mean, obviously there's always teams that need quarterbacks, so maybe he'll end up somewhere else. I just don't think he's going to be a Niner again. And if not, yeah, he can get into porn. Or he could, I don't know, something. He's a good looking dude. He's fine. But he was never, I don't think he was just ever going to be that guy. See, Burrow is that guy for the Bengals. It seems like he is that guy. That's where I'm like, when I came to my prediction for the Rams and Niners game today, I was like, well, the Rams have a quarterback. Niners have defense and special teams for sure, but the Rams also have a good defense with those two, the two I always forget their names, but yeah, so both Stafford and Burrow are great dudes, would be happy. Yeah, exactly. I know. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have a favorite NFL team. I'll root for the Rams for my dad, but I kind of want to see the Bengals win, because they were a shit team. They were a shit team like a year ago, and Burrow has only been in the league for what, like two? Well, not has he only been playing for like 2 years or something like that? That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So I don't really care who wins. I think Stafford is due for a Super Bowl. All those years in Detroit where he just didn't have the team. Now he has the team. So should be a good Super Bowl. And yes, guys, I'm drinking Vizzy. Not having a beer. I'm having my pussy seltzer type drinks. This one's different though, because I got tired of the Bud Light seltzers. This one has vitamin C and antioxidants. That's right. So as I'm getting fucked up, I'm also fighting COVID. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, this is alcohol that has vitamin C. And I had some last night and I was like, you know what? It's actually not bad. It's got a little bit of whatever to it. I just wasn't feeling like having beer because why, guys? I told you. Remember, I was gifted last week when I helped my cousin move. I was gifted not a full 36 pack, but probably, maybe a 30 pack of Bud Light that I was trying to get rid of pretty much. And so pretty much all week I've been trying to just get rid of that Bud Light. So I've been drinking Bud Light pretty much for the past week. So I'm just trying to get rid of it. So I'm tired of beer right now. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to go for this right here. There's nothing wrong. I know. Hey, I don't find anything wrong with seltzers. Not at all. I'm just saying that's what this is just a different one that I had last night when I was hanging out, and I was like, you know what, it's not bad. I mean, it's just funny how they're selling it with antioxidant and vitamin C. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I don't need vitamins in my alcohol, but it's whatever. So, but the good thing about stuff like this is you kind of, you could probably have a bunch of these and wake up a-okay. Now you're not all effed up. So, anyways, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking right now. Eric made the Peacemaker drink. Uh-oh. Well, yeah. What was the Peacemaker? What was that? What did he make in there? And then I love the fact that he had they had a bottle of like aviation gin also in there too, which was kind of funny. I was like, oh yeah. And Ryan Reynolds commented on it and stuff like that. So they're having fun with that. They're having fun with Peacemaker. I know some people hate it with a passion who haven't even seen one clip of it. Yeah, it's getting kind of ugly when it comes to that stuff, but what can you do? Fandom will always fandom. Oops, shit. I hit that. Didn't mean to hit that. All right. Sending in the link right now. Patreon stream link. All right. There you go. All right. Ooh, man, nose is a little itchy. All right, publishing it right. Meow. So there you go. Anybody's out there is ready to go. But yeah, the Peacemaker drink. In my world, we call it piss. I forgot exactly what the drink was. Yeah. The DCU is at its lowest point. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's at its low point. I think its low point was Justice League. That was at the low point. That was definitely the low point when it came to the DCU. But right now, I wouldn't say that it's at its low point. No, I think it's on its incline because who knows what's going to be happening. I mean, I know people don't count the Batman as DCEU. I kind of do because it's the DC extended universe. I always think that the DC universe is always the books. Anything else more is like the extended, but people have different definitions. Who knows? Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw a lot of stuff like that. All the stuff people are saying. But anyways, let's start bringing in some people here. We got Eric. We got, of course, William. What is up, guys?
Hey, when you're playing that smooth jazz, I figured, you know what? I gotta look the part, so might as well.
Gotta look the part, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, smoking a cigarette? Look at you.
No. This is an e-cig actually, but it's a zero nicotine e-cig. It's called Clearette is the brand, and the only reason I have this is like sometime back I was doing like some short films for a campus movie fest, and so I basically, hey, you gotta do that. Well, yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, all right, so let's kick off. I hate to disappoint Jose, but no, it's not the Peacemaker drink. It is a classic, ladies and gentlemen, a Moscow Mule, and I'm going to mix it right before your eyes.
It's good stuff. You might want to take the barcode off of your at the bottom of the. I saw the barcode. Sorry, I put out stupid shit.
Yeah, might as well. But anyway, look, because I still had this vodka from last time. It's I got way too big. This one's way too big. But anyway, so I figured I got to do something fresh.
And we got Mountain Dew right there, of course. William with the Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So anyway, this is Fever Tree ginger beer. So you got to do apparently it's 4 ounces of ginger beer, 1.5 of vodka, and a teaspoon of lime juice. And then you stir it, and you got to have ice and as a bit of a garnish.
And the copper cup, yeah, the copper cup adds to it, right?
Exactly. It's got to be a copper mug. It's got to be copper mug.
There you go. How's it going, William? How are you doing over there at the Sci-Fi Center?
I'm doing all right. Getting through the mediocrity. That's all.
Getting to me. We also got Carrie coming in, and we got Leroy. What is up, guys? How you guys doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Fine. Okay. Sorry, I'm late on your stream. Sorry, I'm late.
No, it's okay. No. I just sent out the link not too long ago. How you doing, Carrie?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm, hanging in there.
Is this the 40 Club?
This is a 40 Club? Yeah, I know, right? The new 40
Well, you know
Club.
what I said? I said way back. What's the difference between the 40 Club and the Snyder Cut? The Snyder Cut exists.
Ah, zing. That's true.
Was the 40 Club a thing,
Yes.
Eric, when Project Comic-Con was going on? Was the 40 Club a thing back then or not? Or was that later?
Kind of. I mean, that was like one of the big dust-ups. It was one of the reasons that that there was like all these tensions behind the scenes with it, because like some of the people were for Dave, some of them were against him, and Garza and all that. So yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, there's some rumor that Michael Keaton's going to be in Aquaman 2. I saw that and I was like, what? All right. That just doesn't make sense to me. But then again, if he's playing like a Nick Fury, if he's playing a Nick Fury type, then that's weird. No, yeah, the 40 Club, well, that all stemmed from me because I said that it stemmed from the fact that I was like, oh, the Snyder Cut needs $40 million, $30 to $40 million.
Well, you know, Garza's gonna be mad at you, right, for trying to take his credit.
He always tries to take my credit. Come on. No, but that's what it was. I mean, that's essentially what it was I said 30 to 40 and people saw 40 and then it became the 40 Club and we just embraced it. We just said,
and it turned out you were right. It turned out you were right.
I was right. Well, no, and then it ended up being 70 million, which is funny. Which that was good. But what could he do? Yeah. Well, are you still making your drink, Eric? This is like a whole experiment right there.
So I got my Dr. Pepper from In-N-Out, but I got a couple of Anchor Steams waiting in the wings once this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's something, like I said, drinks aren't required, but hey, it's
Can
whatever.
I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something? I think that Michael Keaton should not. I think Ben Affleck should still be Batman. It's a bad move to let Michael Keaton replace Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's essentially. Yeah, I could hear you. You said you don't think Michael Keaton should replace Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like all this talks, like people are assuming that just because Michael Keaton is going to be in Batgirl, that somehow that means that he is going to replace Batfleck. It's like, no, I mean, just because Batfleck is kind of stepping away and saying, I don't think I'm not necessarily going to be in that many more films or anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's dying in Flash. No one said that. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's always assumptions that he might be. I don't know, like they might kill him off, but I don't know if. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the details are? I mean, I don't know any details. I don't want to know the details, to be honest. Like William, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to Ben Affleck and Batfleck in the Flash?
They'll have an ambiguous ending. I have no doubt that he'll put the cowl back on again. I just don't think him or any of the prime players want to deal with the current management. Why would you when you know they're outgoing? Just wait. I mean, you got other projects to do. You got other things to do. As soon as they turn things over, one of the main things he stated that he's going to do over and over again, Zaslav, is going to be rebuild broken relationships. And I can't think of any more valuable relationships than some of the directors and some of the actors. I mean, you've driven off an Academy Award-winning screenwriter, Ontario, and an Academy Award-winning movie maker in Ben Affleck, and then a nominated one with Nolan and then some of the other guys. I think these guys are just biding their time. There's nobody that's left Warner Brothers or CC's projects that can't instantly make themselves available upon new management.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, it seems like it'd be stupid, especially when he said that one interview where he was saying, about how the Flash was some of his favorite scenes that he did as Batman, and he was like, "Oh, I finally figured it out." It's like, well, then that'd be kind of dumb if like they just killed him off. If he felt like that about the scenes, I don't think that's I think there's just something that happens with the whole multiverse thing. Things get thrown off course. I don't know. I'm wondering how how Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne ends up in I guess you could say this universe. I don't know. It's all maybe there's a swap. I don't know.
if you go back to what Muschietti said, everything that's happened still happened. Everything is still in existence. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go forward with their own big screen thing, and they're going to preserve these universes for their different platforms that they have. Because I guess I've always said the things, if you ever got more Snyder content, I don't want to ever see it on the big screen. I want to see it on HBO Max where there's more freedom, and I want to see it in the series format where you can flesh things out. So I think that could happen. But another thing that they've done is there's just too much speculation about what's going to go on with the Flash. I understand not giving up the goose. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have everything. It's still, you still want to buy your ticket and see what goes on. But the way they've conducted the PR campaign, there's just too many gaps. And where there's gaps, conspiracy theories start putting in bullshit. And that's their fault. Not knowing, having a decent idea of what's going to go on with the Flash, you know, at least a good premise. That's their fault. And it really, Flash could be a masterpiece, but I think the way they've conducted themselves has really hurt their future projects.
I'm kind of wondering when it comes to like when the marketing kicks in the gear. Yeah, if the marketing kicks in the gear, I mean, I'm loving the marketing for the Batman. I think the Batman marketing is pretty damn awesome. I'm like, okay, can we take these strategies that you're using for this and apply it to some of the other movies that are coming out? So, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows when it comes to Warner Brothers?
Yeah, if I can piggyback off of William, was that like, I think there's. I mean, I really don't know what to expect with this Flash movie. Like, I don't think whenever it comes out, I mean, depending on how the marketing goes and what the kind of trailers we get, I don't think I'll be going into a movie more nervous than that movie. Like, I can never, I'm like, yeah, I just can't imagine it being something that I'm like really super excited about, but more just like, what are you gonna do to the universe I've been so invested in so far? You know, but to William's point, like, I wonder if they'll delay it, partially because of the merger, and they'll put Shazam 2 in its place.
And not be surprised.
And then if Zaslav, like looks at it and says, this isn't really what we want our main cinematic universe to be like, then they may order, additional photography and reshoots to like rework it. Even or they'll just let it go and just say pretend and then just retcon it later. I don't know.
Well, they may allow additional photography.
I'll be glad.
Muschietti wants.
Go ahead, Leroy. Go ahead.
What I'm without happy for is when I hear that Zaslav gets rid of Walter Amada and these clowns at WB. I'll be so happy when I hear that Walter Amada and these idiots are gone. I'll be so glad.
That's the fun thing. That's the hilarious thing. Is like, we all want them to be like, open up the door and like, on The Simpsons,
kick them out,
going out the door. It's probably not going to be that way. You're probably not going to hear anything about it. Contracts will expire and these guys get moved around and moved out. There'll be new positions created, like director of DC content or something like that. That'll be created, and that'll be a position that's like above Hamada and above all those guys. Those guys won't necessarily get tossed out on headline news or anything, but you'll hear about them less and less, and then you'll hear more and more of the people that they put in place, which is the same thing. It's just like I'm just making sure people don't expect on day one, looking at the high rise and Armada comes flying through the broken glass, with his cardboard boxes or something like that. It'll be like a slow moving, silent transition, but I still think we'll benefit from it.
Yeah,
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, and we all hope so.
There was a Business Insider article about David Zaslav, and there was a paragraph in there about like firings and hirings like within the first 100 days. So it's which makes you wonder: is this guy just going to be like, okay, I'm not going to waste any time, and this is where we're going. You're still in, you're out. There's the door.
I think they already know. I think all these people already know that they're Emmerich was looking for a job a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Netflix. Yeah. You knew it was like.
Yeah, I think
these guys all of them should go. I think it should go. Every one of them should go. All of them at
look at the contract status.
That's my opinion.
Not one of them contract beyond 2023. So the problem kind of handles itself.
No, all of them should go.
They're always like, I want him to go. Yeah, we all want him to go.
You
But
want to go now.
yeah,
All of them should go. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. All of them should all go. I would be so happy
Yeah.
when I hear that all
I
are
know.
gone.
I think when it comes to when it comes to contracts, they gotta, of course, they're not gonna go pay like right away. But that article when it talked about Emmerich looking for a job at Netflix, that was kind of like, okay, I think there's something going on here where he's knowing that he's already halfway out the door almost because of the bad decisions he's made.
He's acting like he's about to go. Jason Kilar is acting like he's still around because he was doing his interviews where he was talking about how he was doing, how he was like succeeding and so on recently. But
I mean, when it comes to Kyler, like I saw what he was trying to accomplish last year, and for the most part, it was fine. It was fine, but I mean, because it was like, all right, we have this pandemic. How can we figure out how people can see like these new movies? How do we drive traffic to HBO Max? And I was always like, I mean, maybe it wasn't fully thought out, and maybe I don't know when there's like those articles that talk about him not talking to the filmmakers, the people involved.
Which
maybe
was
there
the
was
right
like
decision in some cases, because you know what would have been the difference in him talking to them? They would have just wanted louder and sooner. 5 years from now, Kylar is going to look like a genius, simple because he's doing now what was going to happen in 5 years. People, they're holding on to the box office format. Like it's the future. It's not. The money's in streaming. There's no amount of money that a box office can bring in that can replicate what streaming revenue brings in.
Look at what Ben Affleck's been saying. Ben Affleck keeps on saying that, like, the movie theaters are going to be for the big movies, and then everything else is going to be everything else. All the smaller movies, like the Tender Bar, like I literally just I have my Amazon Prime. I fired it up a couple weeks ago and I watched it, enjoyed it. Blah blah blah,
Yeah.
But but when it comes to like these bigger movies, I want to see it on a big screen. I want to actually go there. But I'm one of those where I love to go to the movies no matter what.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just now like these movie theaters becoming like it's almost like amusement parks where you can get booze, you have luxury seating, you can have your meals delivered to you. I don't know.
I mean, it's a lot like it's a lot like the rise of a Kindle, as opposed, and there will be those of us like me included that will say, no, I prefer it physical. I prefer holding the book in my hands.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Kindles are convenient. Kindles are easy.
Well, you also realize that the generation, you're always thinking a generation ahead. Like right now, none of the people on this screen are anybody that they're thinking about within 75%. They're thinking about the generation below us that it will not have that kind of connection to that type of movie going. For a guy like me who grew up going to the movies, it's one thing to tear that away from me. But for somebody who's from Generation Y, who has everything in their palm of their hand for most of their life, this is just the next evolution. So that's who they're marketing towards.
Yeah.
And as far as Flash is concerned, I mean, look, there are there are two Ezra Miller Barrys in the movie for a reason. So honestly,
curious about that.
I like that theory that one of them is going to be the Barry of the Snyderverse, and the other one is going to be the Barry of the universe moving forward.
That's what's going to be interesting about that. I mean, obviously, like there's a theory that one of them is going to turn evil, which makes sense, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, Do what?
Gustin going to appear. Grant Gustin. He's going to appear in the Flash.
Oh yeah, Grant Gustin will definitely appear. I think when Ezra showed up on the Crisis run, I think that was just like, all right, now Grant's gonna have to show up in this, which is fine. I'm all for it. Fine, have him show up. I don't know what he's gonna do, if it's gonna be a little scene or is he gonna actually do things. And it'll be kind of funny though too if we actually see Grant Gustin's Flash in action, how much you're gonna have like an actual movie production to do his visual effects. It's not gonna be like this kind of stuff, or something like that in front of a green screen. It's going to be maybe something a little bit more fluid, better. I mean, obviously you got Scanline who's going to be doing the VFX, so I don't know.
And
it would be funny if the two of them commented on each other's running styles.
Yeah.
I said way back when I first thought about, okay, we have a Flash on TV and we now have a different Flash in the movies. I've always said from that, like that the perfect moment in Ezra's Flash movie would be when when he's going through the Speed Force and then he turns and he sees Grant Gustin's Flash and they start for a moment they're running beside each other, they give each other a nod and then they go
That's
there.
pretty cool.
That's all you.
That'd be a cool shot.
Yeah,
that would be something pretty cool. Yeah. But I just wonder, like, when it comes to, and it's funny too, because I think there's still people that think that Michael Keaton is going to be Thomas Wayne still. I thought I saw, like, I've been seeing people still talking about that. I'm like, can we get that out of our heads here? Like, I
just heard someone talk about it as a theory, not actual.
Yeah.
We literally saw him like a moment. It's his back, but we see him in the classic Tim Burton suit. So,
well, I mean, Muschietti posted, the chess piece. And it's very much like, it's the Batman Returns chess piece with the jelly stain on it, or the blood stain, I should say.
I can't stand the infatuation with Flashpoint storyline.
Yeah,
it's one of the dumbest moves DC Comics ever did.
You didn't like the Flashpoint?
Yeah,
no. Three dumbest moves DC Comics ever did: Flashpoint, Zero Hour, and to an extent, Crisis. And if you look at them, they spend the rest of the next 10 or 15 years after each one undoing all of those. And all it does is uproot a fan's investment into these long-term storylines. I mean, if you were around, if you've been collecting comics for 15 or 20 years or brought another generation into it, you pretty much had your long-term storylines uprooted, rebooted, and retconned. And it just becomes clutter. Yeah. And so it's ironic that the future of their franchise is based on one of the things that cluttered up the DC universe more than anything, which is Flashpoint.
They're cleaning up Justice League. Justice League are going to die. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Aquaman are going to die in Justice League number 75. That's a bad move.
I mean, I love the Flashpoint storyline in and of itself, but I never liked how it ended, and it was totally unnecessary to the plot itself. It ended with complete reboot of the universe and the start of New 52.
That's because who was writing it. And that same guy tried it with Watchmen, with Doomsday Clock. His intention was to do the same thing, and he was stopped.
He's always like rebooting stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Jeff Johns, the constant reboot.
Take away the reboot nonsense at the very end, which has nothing to do with the Flashpoint storyline itself. Take that away, and I like the story. But if you tack that on,
the story is cool. Like I dig the story, but to have it bleed into like everything, it's like it should just be like
that was his plan from the start.
It should be its own thing,
Yeah, you can't take away Flashpoint from the reboot when the whole point of Flashpoint was to reboot. That was never it was never a separate entity, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
But what I'm liking about what's happening with
upcoming storyline Flashpoint Beyond, Johns.
Say that again.
He's doing a Flashpoint Beyond storyline. Doing a Flashpoint storyline, upcoming Flashpoint storyline with Thomas Wayne's Batman, Jeff Johns, a new storyline, but DC.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, but what I've been like when it comes to the details of the movie, I'm just kind of going, okay, if they're gonna start doing the multiverse thing and not just like, okay, time travel, there's gonna be that too. What I'm kind of curious is the fact that Muschietti was like, it's gonna have Flashpoint elements maybe, but we're gonna kind of open up more possibilities of like, I mean, it seems like Supergirl is kind of the Flashpoint Superman story arc a little bit, just judging by the concept art where she's like trapped in like wherever they find her and she can't, she's just kind of trapped in a government facility. So I'm like, all right, that's cool that it's not Superman, it's Supergirl. It's who knows which Supergirl it is. We're kind of wondering about that.
Parallels. There's a lot of parallels to the classic Flashpoint, even though the storyline is not the same. Yeah, because if you watch do straight up Flashpoint, then you would see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and not Michael Keaton. But yeah,
and then at one point he was supposed to be like he was on the casting sheet or something like that. I don't even know what with all that, that's all been very weird. But this is a weird question. Hey, Dave, how do you feel about Garza looking buff? Okay, Junes. Like what? I know he's been, he's been working out and bulking up, but good for him, I guess. What did he post like a shirtless pic on Instagram or something like that? I didn't know about. Anyways, no, good on him. Good on him. Good on Garza.
About Flash. Like people are assuming again, like they're assuming that Keaton is taking over from Batfleck and all that. People are assuming that and honestly, people are assuming that what Batfleck was saying in the interview was that he was saying he was done. And honestly, I was one of those saying, well,
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I don't think so. Look, I think what he was suggesting is that, look, from now on, I mean, just like Flash itself was just play it by ear. I look at the script, and if I like it, I'm in. If I'm not, I'm not. Because if you look at his exact words, like the way he used the word finish, I've had experience. Like I've been working for like years, family, my dad's business, and the way he used the word finish, he used it as a noun, and it looks like when you put finish on something, like when you put it on wood, put it on a chair. Like that's what it's saying. He was polishing it up. When he talked about how the writing, these are the moments, these are the perfect moments I've always loved, I always wanted to do for Batman. These are like my favorite moments for Batman. He was saying it puts finish on it, it polishes up to make it look perfect. That's what he was saying. Finish.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying finish as in done.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, I guess.
I don't know why anybody would believe that we wouldn't see him as Batman. There's just
I mean, it just seems like he's gotten to the point.
What William was saying earlier, like he's biding his time, like he's waiting for the management to change. He's not closing off the opportunity, but he knows he doesn't want to work for. I'm assuming he doesn't want to work for the current regime right now because of just how they've handled the
you don't want to work for these clones. You don't want to work for. I don't blame you.
They're on their way out. So
As for the director,
what's going on, Doug?
Hey guys.
Hello,
hey,
Doug.
What are you
how you doing, buddy?
I heard some New 52 hate, so I wanted to join the party.
I like the New 52.
And
New 52 was what I needed in order to get back into DC Comics. And hey, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't get Scott Snyder's magnificent Batman run. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like Batman and Green Lantern were great, but I'm a big.
But did I need to reboot the whole universe to do that?
Cyborg wouldn't be in Justice League either. If it wasn't for Jeff Johns, Cyborg wouldn't be in Justice League.
Yeah, because I'll be the first to agree that the Scott Snyder run for Batman New 52 is excellent. Of course, Court of Owls is now one of the classic Batman storylines.
Yeah.
In and of itself. But honestly, you look at his run, it could have easily fit in the post-crisis era, honestly. Especially
without a doubt. I mean, you do not have to reboot the universe to get these great runs.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, like, Batman and Green Lantern didn't change all that much, and Justice League had a pretty good run, and it was Jeff Johns, but I'm a big Superman guy, and that I was post-crisis Superman, Live and Die, and that was just trash. Yeah. And then, of course, they bring Dan Jurgens back for Superman Rebirth, and it was like picking up where I left off. It was great.
Yeah,
the Superman Unchained book was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so what are you drinking, Doug?
Yeah.
Oh, just some seltzers like Dave.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll say this about a Moscow Mule. I was first combining it. I was first trying it out last week because I thought we were going to do it last week. And honestly, it fascinates me that, look, with most cocktails, we think that they're going to be sweet, like margarita, sangria, and all that stuff. A Moscow Mule is not sweet at all.
It's not. It's refreshing. Yeah.
It's refreshing. It's very fascinating. If I were to compare it to anything, it doesn't taste like it at all. But it reminds me of a grapefruit.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't taste like a grapefruit, but the taste reminds me of a grapefruit. That's the best way I can describe it.
I will say with these seltzers right here, this Vizzy stuff, it's got a little bit more flavor to it. I mean, it's still like zero sugar and all that stuff, but I used to have like the Bud Light ones or the fucking what are the popular ones? I can't even remember. But those ones are always just like, it's like never. But this one, it's got a little bit more kick to it when it comes to a flavor. And I'm like, all right. And like I said, it's got vitamin C. I don't know why it needs to have vitamin C, but okay. Fighting viruses.
High noons are pretty good like that. They got a little bit of juice in there, so they're not too sweet, but good taste.
Yeah, because I'm not like a sweet guy. I don't like sweet drinks, but these aren't too bad.
I am more of the sweeter guy. I like the sweeter drinks, but that's why I said I was struck by just how fascinating the taste is. This is not sweet at all, but so fascinating. So I kept. But
it's Moscow Mules will. I mean, on a hot summer freaking night or day or something like that, those can be really refreshing. And then all of a sudden you're five in, and you're stumbling over yourself.
Because that's why I'm not going to drink anything beyond this one mug, because I tried like last week and I drank 2 and and it threw me back.
Yeah.
So no.
All right. So when it comes to the Batman, who's had their Batman pizza? Anybody?
Yeah. I mean, I live next to a Little Caesars, so I'm going to do it soon, but not yet.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I haven't had it yet, but I like seeing.
Go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kerry.
I was just gonna say, Little Caesars always gives me like heartburn within the first 10 minutes of me starting to eat it. So
I know, right?
I tend to avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like seeing the mainstream publicity, though. Get the message out there.
All over the place, yeah. Like I finally had one last night, and when you walk in, I mean, even when you open up the app literally, like a bunch of bats like flutter out and stuff like that, where it just kind of like you have the app. Well, you can't even see it, like you can't see it, but you can see you see the bats and stuff like that. Yeah. They just do like this whole thing where like the bats like fluttering around, which is pretty cool. And then you got Gotham City right there, and I'm like, all right, why not? But so I mean, it's like I said, I think the marketing when it comes to all that. Leroy, I wanted to ask, where are you from, Leroy?
Where are you from? Kingston, Jamaica. I'm from Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay.
Jamaica, nice.
Yeah,
Jamaica,
right.
Kingston, Jamaica.
What time is it over there right now?
It's now 11:41 p.m.
Yeah.
11:41.
Yeah, he's in the same time zone as me. I'm in Florida, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always wonder when it comes to time zones when it comes to all that. But yeah, cool. Well, thank you for joining me.
Here in Jamaica, we don't have the daylight saving time nor winter here in Jamaica.
Oh, okay. It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. But William, you haven't had one of those Batman pizzas? No.
I'm not a Little Caesars guy, but I applaud the fact that they took them 9 years to finally get a marketing campaign correct. This is what you're seeing right now, and it's not just a marketing campaign. What Matt Reeves has been able to do with this movie is because Zack Snyder was not able to do that, and it really laid the groundwork for directors who came in to say this is what we want or we're not going to, because Matt Reeves could go anywhere and do anything he wants to. Same thing with James Gunn. The way they handled things with directors prior gave a lot of leverage to the current crop of creators we have now. Sucks that our guy had to get sacrificed for that to happen, but it's happening. And the marketing campaign is better. The marketing campaign for Justice League, which we were a part of, was horrendous. It was bad. I mean, I remember getting posters that I had to throw away. I got posters.
I remember those posters from AT&T or whatever.
Yeah, it was out
T-Mobile.
Yeah, it's AT&T, but there was no Superman in them, and I'm like, okay, well, and then they're like, well, we're hitting at the fact that Superman's in it, but we don't want to let the general public know. I'm like, are you serious? And that's the kind of mindset that they were doing back in 2016, 2017. Now they're going all out. Other than the Flash, I mean, I think that they're really hurting the Flash's chances by not taking control of the narrative and putting enough out there for us to when I walked out of No Way Home, I don't need to know the specific details that's happening in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but I'm anticipating and exciting for it. When I walked out of Suicide Squad, I basically walked off a ledge because there was nothing continuing to it. And that's why people who say, well, standalone is the way to go, that's bullshit. All right.
Yeah.
DC created the superhero. I don't mind having standalone stuff like the Batman. That's great. I'm going to go see it, but only if you have your shared universe, and that's just the atmosphere of today.
Yes.
Your fans are not going to be cultivated any other way. You can try to put standalone stuff, and like Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad I thought it was great, but it was a road to nowhere. When I left Suicide Squad, I'm like, okay, what's next? When I left Spider-Man No Way Home, we were in, it was entirely different feeling. And I'm not saying they need to copy Marvel, because some of Marvel does is junk. But that structure of anticipation is what they've been missing for like 7 years now.
Yes.
The only thing that the Batman can build anticipation for is more installments within that universe. So like it's not gonna, it's not which is one way to do it for sure. I mean, the Nolan films were always just building towards the next thing, but that had a period of a few years in between. So,
but if you look at the Nolan films, and they caught lightning strike right between the eyes with the second movie. If Heath Ledger does not deliver that all-time great performance, you're talking about 2 or 3, $400 to $700 million movies, which is good money. But we're not talking about the Nolan movies in the same regard as we are now.
But I have a question. Are you watching Peacemaker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, like when you said it didn't lead to nowhere, the fact that it actually kind of continued.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It didn't lead to anywhere where anybody really wanted to go.
Okay.
As far as the problem is, and this is not knocking Peacemaker. I got my own thoughts about that. But when you've set the table with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and you don't finish that meal, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters, because my trust with you is like every time I see something, it's like you're trying to distract me. Like, hey, look over there, look over there. And you don't want me to look at that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman dessert over here. You want me to look at everything else. And it's almost like these other things are distractions and workarounds. Peacemaker, first 3 episodes, I thought was stupid.
Can I say something? Excuse me, can I say something? Wonder Woman 3. Wonder Woman 3 should have Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck in Wonder Woman 3. Yep. I think that would be a lot better. They should appear in Wonder Woman.
Have a different direction too.
And I really like. I think sometimes that
get away not going to work.
Bring the Trinity back.
Bring the Trinity going feel again.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Why you don't really have your main thing that you started with? You never finished. So now we're on the Peacemaker, we're on the Suicide Squad, and they're great. But you're trying to generate a global and universal anticipation for your atmosphere and your universe, and you just can't do it. You can't fight a nuclear missile war with a water gun. You have to bring out the big guns, and it gives everything credibility. All the underlying B and C characters get credibility. Like they said, a rising tide lifts all ships. Well, the rising tide is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Then we start with these other characters. But Peacemaker, listen, I didn't ask for it. The first 3 episodes I thought were bad. I thought it was like hitting me over the head with joke after joke after joke, but I could see there was a story in there somewhere. Episode 4 was really good. And the last 15 minutes of episode 4 might have been some of the best work James Gunn's ever done as far as narrative storytelling. Wow. That song that they used at the end, the visualizations they used at the end, that's what was capable in the first 3 episodes, but it just wasn't there, But I like James Gunn. I think sometimes it's over the top. But once again, I mean, I wasn't waking up, jumping out of bed saying Peacemaker. But you give me Superman, you give me Cavill, you give me these things, and you lead them to a resolution.
And honestly,
Doug, hold on, Eric. Doug, you seem like you have something you want to say. I was just going
to say, I totally agree with what William's saying. It's if Marvel did Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, Thor 1, maybe they did Avengers and just kind of stopped that. That's exactly where DC's at right now. And if Marvel just said, hey, we're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy and just run with that for the, extended universe and maybe do some of these side characters, you want the titans of your universe, and without that it falls apart, or at least it's not as strong as it could be. And so I agree with what William's saying.
Well, even Dan DiDio said that years ago about their comics. He said the reason when they focus on their marquee characters, their whole brand is better. Like their entire line of comics is better when they really put a lot of emphasis on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, whatever. And Warner Brothers has just completely sidestepped that completely. They're not even. I mean, they're going to fast track Wonder Woman 3, but that's still a few years out. Like, so there's nothing.
Yeah, that's not going to be instant. Yeah,
you know, and you got a completely new Batman. So, you know, as good as a filmmaker as Matt Reeves is, that's a new. You're asking general audiences to reinvest in this version of the character, and they haven't even never really fully got the chance to say goodbye to the Ben Affleck version of the character. And audience reinvestment matters. I mean, people weren't bought into Christian Bale's Batman until after The Dark Knight. The Batman Begins didn't sell it on general audiences, and like general audience investment. We as a fans can love one version of a character after one movie, but general audiences need more time.
And here's kind of the weird thing that William mentioned too is how do you go through Matt Reeves' Batman, who I expected to be phenomenal, and then get an audience to reinvest in, hey, we're bringing back Michael Keaton for the Flash movie. So that's your main selling point for the Flash, but it's coming out in the same year. That's going to be a really tricky advertising promotional campaign.
Yes, you have the multiverse. Using the multiverse. You have the multiverse, various Earths. It can work.
Maybe
I agree, but selling that to a general audience.
That's the thing that was like, you know what, like, you know, kind of ride the coattails of what, you know, Marvel's doing, because obviously when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I mean, obviously people are accepting all that. And then you have literally Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The multiverse needs to be the key word in all this marketing. They just need to put that out there. And I think Marvel is already doing a good job of being like multiverse. How is Andrew and Toby coming back? Multiverse. And then, we got the next Doctor Strange. It's called Multiverse of Madness. They really need to put that buzzword out there when it comes to the Flash, I think.
Yeah,
or use Elseworlds. I would use Elseworlds because
Elseworld would be a good one too.
I think multiverse, the word is going to get saturated to the point it might hurt them.
That'd be smart. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Okay, yeah, because talking about the key characters, the key DC characters. I remember like a few months ago, Dave. This is partly important if Dave is here.
You just ducked him.
That's when I'm about to talk. He walks away.
Still hear you. Come on, man.
Good. Okay. Yeah. A few months ago, like on the vodka stream, I believe it was Stephen Colbert who was saying that, look, if after Justice League, if Warner Brothers had greenlit Man of Steel 2, then there would not have been as much anger in the fandom at Warner Brothers, and therefore. Yeah, there's still the release of Snyder Cut still would have been around, but it wouldn't have been as intense and as big as it was because we were not getting more of Henry Cavill's Superman. We were not getting more of like Ben Affleck. Well, Ben Affleck was going regardless, but we were not getting what we were wanting. And if they were to give us at least a Man of Steel 2, well, we would have been more satisfied, and we still would have wanted the Snyder Cut, but we still would have. We would have been settled for a bit longer.
Well, any proper resolution, and that's why when I hear restore the Snyderverse, that's really the wrong hashtag. It should be resolve the Snyderverse, because right now, if you would have resolved this, they would have given themselves so much goodwill. If we had a beginning, a middle, and an end, we had an end of the story. It wouldn't matter who was coming next, because we would have already established that credibility, and we would have established trust. Marvel can give you a talking raccoon because they built up credibility to do so. DC can't even give you mainline heroes and without any doubt because of the way what they've done. Like I said, the Batman is going to make what it's going to make. If it's probably going to make anywhere between 650 and 800 million, which is phenomenally great money. But if it doesn't, it's not because it's going to have anything to do with the movie itself. It's going to have to do with credibility. I'm going to trust you with a new Batman when within my lifetime, I like 5 years, I never got the resolution to the one you gave me before. It's trust, you know. And Marvel can put out bad movies. They can put out Dark World, and nobody blinks.
That is exactly my attitude with the different Spider-Man movies. Like, I liked the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, but like we got a mediocre Spider-Man 3, and there was talk about Spider-Man 4, but it didn't happen. So instead, we got a reboot. And I still have not really I haven't seen them in full, but I've not seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but mainly because okay, you're just going to reboot and not give us a satisfying conclusion to the old one. But then we got Tom Holland, of course. But now that it's the multiverse, it's like, you know what? And I really like Andrew Garfield. It's like, yeah, I'll check those out now. Now that we have the multiverse, that kind of lacks stuff, so that now I can see that without feeling like, well, why did I watch this version resolve the version I liked?
I mean, Andrew Garfield needs to be resolved too, right? You know what's funny? Like, yeah, I mean, when it comes to Andrew Garfield's story, I always had this question of like, yeah. Well, like when it comes to Andrew Garfield, like Spider-Man, I always wonder, like, all right, so they were trying to set up the Sinister Six and this whole crazy story. So now, if they give him another movie, do they try to go back to that, or they just kind of go, no, fuck that, let's just leave that behind because that was a little too much of everything. And we just move forward with a different kind of story. Like, does he go into the multiverse more? Like,
different story.
Move out Andrew Garfield. Have him meet up with Venom.
Don't use those characters in the multiverse again.
Okay.
I think there's a risk there for them to. Everybody sees the MCU and they want to jam everything into it, and it's really a clusterfuck sometimes. If you look at movies like Endgame and Infinity War, it was a great culmination, but there's so much clutter in those movies, and not every Marvel thing is meant to act as a piece of something. Spider-Man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Spider-Man was designed to work in solitude for the most part, and guest appearance in your book if it was about to fail or get canceled. There's Spider-Man. That's pretty much what it is. Spider-Man was never designed to be a team player, and Stan Lee and Ditko were very, very careful with who they used him in. He didn't even go into space until he'd been in publication for 8 years. So they were very careful about they use him, and he wasn't a part of a team. Yeah, I saw that.
I know it's so ridiculous. Thank you for the super chat, but
the name is
look at the avatar. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's popped up in Enosh's thing too. We saw him. We busted up.
I gotta keep that in memory. We want to talk about something later, but
yeah. But what they did is, if you read if you're a comic book reader, he wasn't a part of a team until the mid 2000s. And to be honest with you, those stories weren't that great. That was just desperation. So not everything needs. So Garfield, if they do Spider-Man again, do give Garfield his 3. Bring back Tobey Maguire as a mentor to Miles Morales in Sony's verse. Do not.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people have been saying like Tobey should do that. Yeah, when it comes to Miles, everybody keeps on saying, and that makes sense, being that he's the veteran Spider-Man, and essentially he was, he was. We saw that when it came to the No Way Home. Talking with the other two, he just had that mentor type, when he's talking to Garfield's Peter Parker, you kind of got that sense of it. And then when he literally, like, when he stopped, Tom Holland from killing Goblin, that was just him going, hey, what the hell, do not do this. So that would be smart, but I mean, it sounds to me like they might, the next Tom Holland Spider-Man, they're going to be like, hey, Miles Morales,
that would be a horrific mistake, because I don't think they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. That character,
he's way too young. He's way too young to have Miles Morales. Like, give Miles to Peter.
You could make a veiled and very weak argument, and I hear it all the time that Spider-Man needs the MCU, and I say that's bullshit. But okay, there's enough evidence for you to make that argument. There is zero evidence for Miles Morales. The demographics that are built into Miles Morales right now, just being Spider-Man of color, is the same thing that does for his books. They're going to make their money on their own. They don't need to add 4 million other Marvel characters to that character. And they've proven that they can tell those stories on their own without the assistance of anybody else. And I think they should continue to do so, especially if you were to bring in Tobey Maguire as a bridge and then make that your central Spider-Man for that Sonyverse. I would really hate to see him as another subservient sidecar character to whatever Marvel character or MCU character.
I think
I like the idea of Venom being in the Andrew Garfield universe, with Andrew Garfield, if anyone. Mm-hmm. But give Miles Morales to Tobey Maguire, and attach Venom to Andrew Garfield. As for Tom Holland, I've had my ideas. I've been having my ideas for a bit about what I would do with his Spider-Man 4, and I kind of was a little teasing it a little bit with Dave a little bit. And it's I'm kind of half joking with this, but the fact that Tom Holland is on record and was gushing about how he's had a crush on Emma Watson ever since it's with Harry Potter. I was like, you know what? Make her Black Cat. Make her Felicity.
Or make her actually Mary Jane.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That would be funny because Mary Jane Watson, but that would. I know.
She's already Zendaya.
Yeah, and of course we have Zendaya. But yeah, honestly, and then I have had this, and the more I was thinking about it, the more I had this. Hey, we could give her like an elaborate backstory that I was going on about how maybe like her parents were like blipped and for these 5 years where she was on her own, she like became like a professional thief basically to like make ends meet or whatever. And then after those 5 years, now she's back or whatever, but here she is like in Manhattan, so on, trying to make her own. And then as a result, she has like her
great theory. Yeah.
What's the last thing that Emma Watson has been in?
She was in those.
She was in that Tom Hanks movie.
Little Women. What? That was the last one she was in.
Little Women. Okay, that's right.
Like a drama. Yeah.
See, I remember I actually watched that movie with Tom Hanks when it came to it was all about technology and like I don't even remember. It was it was not a good movie. It was really not. It was not a good movie. But
I'm the person who wasn't a fan of either of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I did not like either of them. I think they're pretty damn awful, to be honest, in my opinion. So, but if they decided to bring back,
I like Andrew Garfield.
If they decided to bring back Shailene Woodley because she was pitch perfect casting for Mary Jane, and I remember even years before that watching her just be a guest on Conan O'Brien's show and just watching how she conduct herself. I'm like, she's Mary Jane. She literally is Mary Jane Watson in real life. So I was like, if you bring her back, then I'll be more interested.
Yeah. So. And as for Tobey Maguire, I mean,
Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
As for Tobey Maguire, he and Kirsten Dunst's MJ happily married, and he passes the mantle on to Miles Morales. So both that.
I want to see them have a kid.
All right, I'm going to back up. Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. You can see some really good stuff there. Obviously, the studio got involved, particularly with 2, but it had. I did a rewatch before No Way Home, obviously, and the Tobey series is very. It's nostalgic and great and wonderful, especially 1 and 2. The thing that stuck out with me was kind of the horror, kind of campiness of the Evil Dead that you really saw in 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did not like about the Tobey trilogy is the music. Like the Denny Elfman was a little bit too. I don't think it holds up as well as some of the other Spider-Man movies, but. I will say the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are rock solid.
Oh, the chemistry is great.
I mean, when he reveals it and he webs her and spins her around and
I hate
flies
that
off.
Scene. I
love it.
I hate that scene. They're acting like he's in 8th grade. He's not acting like a high school student. There is a very distinct difference. I'm sorry.
He's coming out to her. He's coming out as an identity, and then he swings off. When he swings off, she goes, "Oh, I'm in trouble." And of all Spider-Man movies, my favorite scene, even though it's so convoluted with Weird Goblin and Electro and all that, like the death of Gwen Stacy was
a great scene,
freaking awesome because of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. And so you can say a lot about those things, but they did Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker really, really good. And they actually touched on something that most comic fans don't want to see, which is the Peter Parker's parents, that I was intrigued by. And then
they dropped the ball both times.
Well, of course. And that's I don't blame Mark Webb for that. I blame the studio for that.
Blame Amy and Pascal for that.
They erased that scene, they deleted that scene when he was talking to his real father at the end. He didn't die. He said his father didn't die. He was talking to Andrew Garfield, but they delete that scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
many scenes they delete out of that.
No, what you're saying, Doug, is like, yeah. I mean, I have issues with the those two movies too, but story wise and just how like they were trying to do something, and then the studio, especially with the second one, but you know, there's some of those scenes. I mean, the VFX, my God, the VFX on some of those shots are just so. I mean, the reflection off the eye and just there's just so many like the web slinging. I think is. When it comes to the web slinging of all the movies, I'm going to say Amazing Spider-Man has probably some of the best of all the Spider-Man movies, I would say. But that's only because I mean, obviously, when it comes to the Tobey stuff, I mean, that was always growing and growing and growing, even though when you look at it now, like some of it's pretty good, some of it's a little rubbery, but then you look at the Tom Holland stuff and it's like, man, some of that's rubbery, but you go back and look at the Andrew Garfield web sling and you're like, they like, why are these VFX look different from? Yeah, I mean, like some of it looks just. I mean, especially when like you have the slow motion. I mean, literally the web is like a hand and it just reaches out. I'm like that little detail of the web just doing that. I'm like that right there was like, oh, that's so freaking awesome right there. You know.
I'll take rubbery when it's a better told story that characters are written.
That's the thing.
That's window dressing to me, so that's not really anything of substance. I can.
Yeah. You know, so you didn't like the story so much. Yeah, I mean, I get
like
that.
The story. I hate how Peter Parker's written. I hate how he's written. He does not. He's selfish the entire time. He tries to ruin.
I don't think so. I disagree.
Interview for Oxford. You know, he totally jacks up her chances. I don't think Peter Parker would ever try to get in the way of someone's future just because he's like, girlfriend, don't leave. You know, I like the entire time in the first movie he's arguing with Aunt May the entire time. Oh, but he brings her the eggs by the end. Good for you, Peter. Good job bringing home the eggs finally. Come on. If you don't get Peter Parker right, then I can't buy into the whole rest of the movie. So that's just.
I think I get what your point is, because some people say like, oh yeah, I mean like this Peter Parker. I mean he's too much of a good-looking dude. He's tall. He's like, you know, he's got the messy hair. He's got a skateboard in his backpack. I think some people had a problem with this version. Yeah, I think like because there's been different iterations. Yeah, there's been different iterations of Peter Parker. Like when it comes throughout, you know, your Spectacular Spider-Mans. I mean, I could see why people didn't really dig that version. I was okay with it, but then the storytelling of certain things, I was like, yeah, this is, you know, they kind of dropped the ball with
Spider-Man Fox animated series. That is Andrew Garfield, the Fox animated Spider-Man series.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I think
that's closer to Tobey. All right. Yeah, the Fox Kids animated, I think it's closer to Tobey in college.
I think
that's Garfield version, the Fox animated series.
There's an MTV one. Are you talking about the MTV one?
No,
MTV was in continuity with Tobey's. The late 90s Fox.
That is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
I agree.
Yeah,
he's MTV one. Made before the MTV one. Made in the 90s. That is Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yeah, Andrew is the best up. Is the fighting, joking, daring Spider-Man, whereas Tobey is the more nerdy Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is the one you can actually believe is a high schooler.
Yeah, that's very true.
The reason why Tom Holland's been my favorite is because I feel like he's the best balance of both Peter Parker, like nerdy Peter Parker, and Spider-Man being quippy in the suit. So the fact that he balances out both of them, whereas Tobey's the better Peter, but not as quippy in the suit. Andrew Garfield's more quippy in the suit, but his Peter Parker's not as well written. So
I just wish there had been a Spider-Man story written around Tom Holland's character before this last movie. Because before he just seemed like a pussy that was dependent upon a rich guy. And that's Spider-Man.
I mean, it was a very long origin story. It was a very long origin story for
Spider-Man. Didn't need
and honestly,
Tom Holland is not Spider-Man. Sorry, Tom Holland is not Spider-Man.
And honestly, what I've been saying, like having the Spider-Man 4, he's dealing with this professional thief girlfriend. Like, okay, that would be the perfect way to show him as his own man. Honestly,
Mr. Stark, yeah. Mr. Stark,
yeah. Stark, Mr. Stark.
I love everyone. Nobody remembers who he is, so he's on his own. Except for
Tom Holland got upstaged by a dead guy's glasses in his own sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard more. There was more about damn Tony Stark's glasses and his drones, and I'm like, and there's Nick Fury. And I'm like, who else is going to come in Spider-Man movies besides Spider-Man?
As much as I like certain parts of Spider-Man Far From Home, the part that irritated me so much was when Mysterio and his goons are together and he goes on this rant where he's telling them what they already know.
Yeah, that scene was horrible.
Saying it for the audience.
Crap. But I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I do like his.
I was fine with that scene. It did everything I wanted.
Yeah, not me. I didn't like that scene.
I'm looking forward to Tom Holland from this point on.
We've seen it go over $1 billion worldwide because they get away with crap. Kevin Feige gets away with crap and his team makes big money. And that's just how it is. We can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige do anything and they will make big money.
But what's great about the fact that at the end of No Way Home is like, all right, now, I mean, my immediate thought when he makes his new costume and he starts, doing his web slinging and the costume looks great. I'm like, all right, we got through the origin story. It took like how many movies? But we're here now. We're finally here.
He's dead. He's alone.
He looks good.
But
that's why. Here's the thing: I am worried about something though. Because I think Peter is at his best when he has his like selective few close friendships.
Yeah.
I think that's Ned Leeds has been the secret weapon of the entire Tom Holland series. In the Tobey Maguire movies, he had his friendships with Harry, and then his relationship with
the
MJ.
journey back to getting them would be,
Well, that's what I'm wondering what they're going to do. Are they going to are they going to have him reestablish his relationship with Ned and Zendaya at some point, or is he going to have because he goes to college?
I saw an interesting tweet today that I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Somebody tweeted out, MJ is the only one that has heard Peter Parker's name, because at the end of the movie, she, when he goes in there and he was going to say that note, but then he just orders a coffee and then she literally says his name. So she's the only one that has had the name Peter Parker now after the whole memory wipe thing. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because it's almost like when she said it, she almost had like a deja vu or something kind of. Yeah. So the playing on that.
And here's something. It's a big part of the comics, like that he has to struggle with himself. Oh, okay, who do I go for? Is MJ versus Felicia? Bring in Felicia Hardy and have him. Okay, do I leave this old life behind and go after this new girl, or do I try to reestablish my connections?
That'd be interesting. Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
I am really looking forward to Tom Holland's Peter being in college basically, and I'm hoping they create a Dr. Connors for him to develop a mentor-mentee relationship in that regard, because even though he's seen a Dr. Connors, but at least he can I would love it if they would actually build that connection.
Here's something. There's an article that's talking about this. That right now he has no identity. He needs to find a way to recreate his identity, like Social Security card, the database, and all that. He needs to reestablish his identity, and the perfect person to help him do that would be a professional thief who could break into the records and help him out.
See, but Eric, my theory is that records have been more erased. It's just people's memories. Because you can't get an apartment without a Social Security, you can't get a job without a Social Security. You can't apply to test for your GED without some kind of basis for your identity. So he's got to have that. My theory, I could be wrong. My theory is that records of him weren't erased. I bet there's yearbooks at the high school that still have his picture.
But if the records still exist, then all those recorded episodes of the Daily Bugle where J. Jonah Jameson exposed him as Spider-Man, do they still exist?
See, I don't think it was just the memories. I actually think the spell. I actually think it's the circumstances that led up to those memories are gone. I don't think it's just the memories. I think the circumstances are gone. Now, just because they don't
apartment without
hold on. Just because just because those circumstances are gone doesn't mean Peter Parker wasn't ever born. Yeah. So he's still going to have a Social Security. card, and that's all you need. All you need is and it's up to a certain point that you need this stuff before the Spider-Man circumstances don't have anything to do with the fact that he was born and still exists. It's just that those circumstances that led to any of those people remembering who he was are not there anymore.
All right, fair enough.
And it's not just the memories because
I mean the part with Happy though, the part with Happy kind of confused me though, when it was like, they're both at Aunt May's tombstone, and then how did you know her? It was like, so does he just remember Spider-Man and he doesn't remember the identity of Spider-Man, or
he remembers Spider-Man, but the events that would lead him to meet Happy don't exist. They are gone.
Yeah, but how does Happy know Aunt May if he doesn't know Peter Parker?
It's like certain memories are siloed and their connections to each other are kind of separated.
But again, what about the recordings of J. Jonah Jameson made, like when he's like recording his episodes of the Daily Bugle where he exposed Peter Parker with Spider-Man? Do those episodes still exist?
When something doesn't exist, it's like, hold on. It's like if I have a cup full of water, right, and I put a golf ball in it, I take that golf ball out, everything realigns without the water, the volume. So things have realigned without the circumstances that led to them knowing him. So these things still happen.
I don't know. I'm so iffy on that, though.
J. Jonah what looks back at those clips, he's like, wait, who the hell is Peter Parker? Like it wouldn't matter.
He'll know of Spider-Man, but he won't know of Peter Parker.
Okay.
Yeah, but to Eric's question, like, what about the video footage from older episodes of the Daily Bugle?
And then you also got all the kids who were like recording him when he was like going into high school.
Like I said, all that stuff will happen differently.
All these
different.
Maybe the spell erases like stuff that connects the dots.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It erases the circumstances. So these things happen. Like, if I meet Dave out on the street and I meet Carrie, all right, we're all buddies, right? But I'm going to meet Dave always, right? But if I eliminate Carrie out of the situation, if Carrie had nothing to do with me meeting Dave anyway, and I would have met him anyway, it just is going to happen differently. Things are going to happen. They're just going to happen. If you take out the circumstance that would have bound us, it doesn't mean we don't ever meet. We're still living in the same city. We're still doing the same things. The Green Goblin is always going to become the Green Goblin. All these things are going to happen. This is going to happen differently. J. Jonah Jameson would still know who Spider-Man is. He would just not know him in the same way that we think he would. He's going to know Spider-Man through different circumstances because the other ones have been erased. They are gone. They do not exist.
Yes, totally gone.
Yeah.
Interesting. We got somebody else coming in. Man, this guy's been a moderator and stuff like that. Mr. Jose, you don't have a freaking.
What's
up, Jose?
What's up, Dave?
How's it going, man? What, you too shy for a camera? What happened?
No, dude, I worked in the morning. I'm tired. I'm laying in bed in the dark. Not like in a creepy way, but I just, I don't have a fancy setup like you guys. What's that?
He's got the apricot mask on.
Yeah, the cucumbers. No, I just
got a bowl in front of him.
I also don't have a fancy setup like you guys, so I'm just like, I'm just laying here listening to you guys. I thought you guys were talking about No Way Home, so I was like, oh, can we finally admit that No Way Home has some terrible writing and that stuff doesn't make sense?
Well, we were kind of talking about that.
I see Carrie's getting triggered.
The story's not complete, though.
No,
there might be more explanations to the spell.
My thing with No Way Home is, why has nobody asked or even bothered? How is J. Jonah in this world?
That's true.
Why has nobody asked that question? How is J. Jonah in this world?
The same J. Jonah that was
the same J. Jonah that was with Toby.
No, he's not the same one.
He's not exactly the same.
So he's like
he happens to be played by the same actor that was played because everyone loved him. But this J. Jonah Jameson is a different J. Jonah Jameson than was in the Tobey Maguire
version. Yeah.
They made a point. That's why they made a point to make him bald.
Bald, no flat top.
Exactly.
So he's like a variant, basically.
Yeah, he's a variant. He just
because variants could still look like
that's just lazy writing.
Well, no, I think you know what it was. You know what it was? It's just the fact that
you're going to get better than J.K. Simmons to play the
That's the thing.
That's true.
They looked at. That's what they looked at. They were, you know what? Everybody loved him as J. Jonah. Let's just bring him back. Yeah. I mean, they were already bringing back, the others. So why not just bring, a different version? I mean, instead it's different. He's balding and he's got a mustache, but
well, and Kevin Feige even said as much for the Tom Holland movies, like the reason they never bothered to go bring back in Green Goblin or Doc Ock. He's like, and he was a producer on the Toby movies. So he was like, we already had the perfect actors play those versions of characters. We didn't think we could top that. So we just didn't bother. So,
because like really the only thing you have J.K. Simmons, so you had the best thing you could do was give him a different hair, and instead of making him the owner of a magazine, make him Alex Jones.
Yeah,
I know it's pretty much an Alex Jones right there. By the way, I like that fact that says Jose, you're all banned. Nice one.
That's my
Sorry,
shtick.
like-
That's my shtick in the chat.
I know.
Yeah.
I made him.
Yeah,
Let me shout out Lane.
Oh my
Baker.
word!
Yeah.
Yeah.
quick
Lane
question.
I want in Doctor Strange, with a different variant Wolverine in costume. Hugh Jackman's going to appear in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
No,
Yeah, there's a rumor. There's a rumor about that.
See, I don't
Different
like
costume in
these
Doctor
characters
Multiverse
that
of
are.
Madness.
Meg, I'm gonna ban you first, okay? But I don't like this idea of like bringing back like the characters, like
I
Iron
really
Man.
hope-
He's
Well,
dead,
honestly-
just keep him dead. Captain
I
America,
don't
he's
want
old.
Hugh Jackman to come back. To be
Hugh
honest,
Jackman died. He had a perfect
Jackman
death.
is
with
wrong.
Logan.
Hugh Jackman
Earth,
came back.
Tom Cruise.
I mean, Logan died, not Hugh Jackman. He didn't die.
Yeah,
Logan.
from Heroes Earth.
I don't like that because I love how Logan ended. I mean, I thought that was perfect. I don't want Patrick Stewart to come back either. I've always kind of said that where I'm like, that was like kind of like their opus. That was their way out. That was like
Those aren't even supposed to be their timelines, though. The whole
True.
that storyline is
Yeah,
is
can I say
premised
something?
off-
I know it goes off. I know, I get that, but I just don't want.
Feige said
I
F
just
you to WB.
don't-
Can I say something? Kevin
Yeah,
Feige
go
saying F you to WB. That's why I bring them back. He's saying WB to F you, FWB. That's why I bring back all these characters. He's saying F you WB. That's what he's saying. That's why I bring them back.
I like it. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Hilarious.
yeah. No, but yeah, I've just
Also,
never been like a
if-
fan of that idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's saying "f you" to everybody. Yeah.
I mean, that was part of No Way Home when
That's what he's
Charlie
doing.
Cox showed up. It was just Feige showing off. It's what everybody wanted, but it's just like, yeah, I'm going to throw this guy in here.
Well, can I say something real quick? I mean, I know everybody
No.
jokes about how like. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Doctor Strange.
No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba is going to come back in Doctor Strange. Jessica Alba in Fantastic Four. They're going to come back in Doctor Strange. They're going to bring back around 20
think
or
so?
30 of them
Oh,
working in Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
that'd be
Oh,
crazy.
time.
I would hate that. I would hate that.
No,
No, go ahead,
I was-
Jose. Go ahead,
Yeah, I was
Jose.
gonna
What were you
say
gonna
how
say?
like
They are
everybody
going to
jokes
Wanda. They're going
on
to fight Wanda in Doctor Strange.
everybody jokes on Twitter about how like Zack Snyder's the blueprint and all that, and then but I mean he really was when it came to the multiverse because the first multiverse thing in the DCU was
Yeah.
the Nightmare timeline.
Yeah.
with Flash, because that's an
Yeah.
alternate timeline. So basically,
Anyway, I
he
mean,
did begin
in-
that.
Yeah.
Doesn't Steppenwolf say multiverse in
Yeah,
Zack
he
Snyder's
says it
Justice
too.
League?
Yeah.
So
And then even the Nightmare in Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't the same one that we saw in BVS. That's a completely
Nope.
different one.
It
Nope.
keeps I need to know what happens with that.
I
That's
know,
the thing
right?
that really kills
Jesus
them.
Christ.
If they will resolve that storyline, I would be ready for DC to give Blue Beetle, give it to me. Peacemaker, all right, I'm on board. If you would just resolve this big buffalo and the elephant in the room, I would be open to just about
Yeah.
anything, but just
See,
not knowing, and
the thing
especially
is-
after Zack Snyder's Justice League. I want
Right.
to see the Joker again. I want to see how this ends. And the
So the
fact
thing
that
is, like,
Yeah.
sorry, wait, so people
I
are
also
so
want to show down
hold on.
Dark
What's
Side.
up?
Oh,
Show down to Superman and Dark Side.
We're all talking over each other.
Everyone's talking exactly the same time.
Everyone stop talking. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say that people are so upset with the whole, the Flash and what's gonna happen with the Flash and all these leaks and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, why can't we have everything? I mean, who says we can't have everything? Like I've always said in the chat, and I've told Dave, the multiverse is the best thing that can happen to the Snyderverse because you can have everything. You can have. Zack's not gonna come back anytime soon, anyways. He's busy. He's doing stuff at Netflix. His world is gonna be like on hold until he can come back and he can continue that. And it's it's an else world. It's a different type of. It's a different timeline. Whatever it is, what it is.
on
and
HBO
then-
Max
I know,
exclusive.
No, we want that in theater, boy.
No.
We want that in
I
theater.
don't trust the Warner Brothers execs know how to
I
handle
thought that was
Wow.
the format still comes
multiverse
soon.
anyways. So.
And the
You
thing
flew
that
too close to the sun there,
the,
Jose.
the thing that I do agree with William is that, like he said it a bunch of times before, is that WB needs to actually say something, like do something, not just let all this stuff, all this discourse online. Like, I don't know if it be Hamada or whoever, just be like, okay, guys, everybody calm the fuck down. This is what's gonna happen. But it's like, I don't know if they do it because they want to keep it all a secret or whatnot. But it's like people are impatient. Just look at Twitter. People are impatient. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? This and that. I can't wait that long. This movie's supposed to come out in November, and on January 1st, it was like the end of the world with all this leak stuff came out, and everyone's like all doom and gloom. And it's like people don't want to wait. People want everything to be explained to them. Okay, well, this is gonna happen. So in the Flash, this is what's gonna happen. But then it's like, what's the point of going to watch the movie then?
It was
We're
funny.
already
It was
gonna know.
funny too when the whole rumor about the test screening was coming out, and everybody was like waiting for all that, and it was just funny because I was like, it's a little too early for that. people. I was like one of the. I kept saying, I was like, I don't think it's it. I don't think it's it. I don't know. From what I've gathered, it's not. And people were ready. People had tweets probably ready to just flat out go like, fuck this movie, see they're fucking all this, and all this shit like that. And then when it finally came out, that it wasn't the test screen, I was like, there it is. I'm like, relax, everybody.
Where did that come from? Like, where did that even come from? That it was
people
gonna be
just
the Flash?
assumed it was Scoopers. Fucking Scoopers. It was, and then it was just the fandom. It was the fandom that was like thinking that it was that, because I remember people were even like making fun of the fact that it said an action comedy. That was like, I was like, interesting.
Oh, it's what I assume Flush is going to be. The Flush.
Yeah. I hate that.
If you say the Flush, you're banned in the chat.
Screeners happen all the time. The fact that screeners are not news. The fact that a screener happens, there's going to probably be 15 screen tests before this movie gets released. That's how they mold any movie. They play it off of a certain demographic and certain people.
Yeah,
so
and it won't happen to
it's not even a big deal. What the problem is that they're letting scoopers and bloggers and YouTubers dictate the pace of their momentum and not them. There should be a public affairs officer or somebody that comes on YouTube or comes on all these platforms. Like I said, doesn't give away everything, but gives you enough of a bridge so that you have something to cross. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, what was great about the fact that when Zach started just like basically telling the whole Snyder cut and just like, hey, there's Darkseid, this is that. It's like, it was everybody was like anticipating, even though we knew shit, we were just still all on board about it, even though he was spoiling his scenes. That I loved how that we were all just going like, oh, what is he going to post something else? Well, he posted this. We already know the ending.
The trailer spoiled. I mean, the trailer right off the bat. What was the first thing in the Hallelujah trailer? Freaking Darkseid.
Yeah,
that was the first image that we got on the Hallelujah.
It didn't stop any of us from going to watch it, did it?
And then it's like, but it was because Zach was doing that. He was doing that for us.
Yeah, there's the mind game.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, right?
Zach did more with a turkey, a picture of a turkey, as far as promoting movies than the entirety of DC's marketing. And that's not good, because you know what? The Flash might not be a horrible movie. None of the stuff that they're saying, so all these ideas, when you lay them out and just throw them out on a table, it looks goofy. It looks like a bunch of goofy, disorganized junk because you don't have context, you don't have narrative. But if you give me something to go on, now I'm starting to look at it in a different way. And don't wait till the movie comes out. If you wait till the movie comes out to change the narrative of the Flash, that's going to hurt what the Flash did.
But I mean, William, to be fair, there's a new different leak every week. Is that they're supposed to come out every single week and be like, no, guys, that's not true.
But whose fault is that? That's their fault. If they're driving the ship, like I said, hold on. When the people that are supposed to be talk, everybody else shuts the hell up. Because everybody else, if the horse is talking, the horse's mouth is talking, the other assholes, no matter what they say, no matter what the bloggers say, no matter what, if the Warner Brothers or DC Films head comes out and said, this is where we're going with this is where we're going with that, the bloggers are done. All right, so you can come up with whatever rumor you want to, but I just heard it from the man himself.
Right, but then the fans are like, nah, that's bullshit. That's not true. That's bullshit.
Right now, they have more ammo to say it's bullshit because they're not saying anything at all. I get more news from Grace Randolph than I do from the people who are employed in DC Film.
Why'd you say that?
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, but seriously, like, because right now, and like building on what you're saying, like right now, what are people saying? Like they're looking at these little like cookie crumbs, and they're just like assuming the worst. Like they look at what Kiersey Clements was saying is like, oh, there, see, she's saying it was not what she expected. That movie's gonna suck, or
because it
like,
fits their negative narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And I keep pointing out what, like Dave keeps pointing out that Zach's VFX team is working on the movie. They said they were no longer going to work on CDX, but then they looked at the script and says, yes, we want in. Batfleck, he said he was done. He looked at the script and said he want in. And what are these people saying? Oh, well,
they're doing it for the money.
People got to make money. Really? So you honestly
Scanline via no.
Honestly, that's some of the most disrespectful stuff that you could say about these people, because you're saying that Ben Affleck and the VFX crew and all them don't give a shit about Zach. They just care about a paycheck, and they're gonna do whatever and shit all over his verse. Like
they gotta fit their narrative. Yeah.
After Batfleck was giving serious thought to leaving Justice League.
He wanted to walk out.
Yeah, he wanted to walk out, and they're
going to. Didn't want to punch Whedon in the face or something.
I'm sure that was probably a part of it. Yeah, maybe, hopefully, I don't know. I just know that I remember, heard that he wanted to. He was planning a walkout, but of course, the rest of the crew was like, the rest of the cast, I should say, it was like, they were all still newbies, kind of mostly. They weren't superstars yet.
And hey, quick side question, just because my brother is in the chat and he asked this a while back. My brother is a huge Sandman fan. And so anyone know anything what's going on with the Sandman Netflix series or anything like that, or what the status?
I didn't know there was.
We saw the trailer, right? We saw a teaser. Looks good.
Still happening.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the one with Gordon Levitt.
They at Tadum, right? Tadum. They did. They showed a little teaser for it.
Boy, yeah.
It's very much active. Yeah.
Is that the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt? I think.
No.
With the girl from Game of Thrones, I know that. The one.
Yeah, it wrapped up filming in August of 2021, so it's still got a lot of post-production probably left.
Okay.
Yeah. Has he not seen the teaser?
I have no idea.
Yeah, show him the teaser. Yeah, send him the teaser. It looks. I mean, when you look at it, you compare it to like panels. You're like, oh wow, they're really, they did some good shit right there. I don't know, I forgot what the main actor's name is, but he fits the part, very much so.
Tom Sturridge.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, the filming got delayed because of COVID, but they did wrap filming in August. They're in pre-production or post-production right now. There's been no release date of it because of the delays of COVID, but it's still happening. It's done.
Yeah, it's done. There's a whole teaser for it.
I got a question for you guys. Did you guys see that The Rock was teasing something about the Super Bowl? You don't think it's gonna be like a Black Adam teaser or trailer, do you?
That would be sweet. It should be.
There you go.
Black Adam.
Yeah. Honestly,
you think there'll be a trailer with Batman?
No. What the Black Adam is cooking versus Super Bowl?
That'll be him in character, but
you think it'll be a trailer with the Batman?
That movie, you should. I mean, hell, the most important thing for DC films right now coming up is the Flash trailer. Whenever that trailer comes out, that is going to be the most important moment for that movie, because it's going to hopefully, if we do it right, it will set the tone and it will take away a lot of the anxiety. So they really, really have to land that trailer and put out. And put out something quality so that people are like, okay, that looks great. Because a lot of people were thinking that about the Batman. People were thinking about the Batman, it was going to be a disaster until they saw that trailer of Pattinson beating the hell out of that fool.
Yeah.
And all that. And that changed the narrative of the Batman.
Well, I thought the Flash teaser looked great at Fandom, and then you got all those other people saying it looks like dog. See, exactly. See what I mean?
Dude,
how did it not look good?
Okay, it was just disorganized mess.
The movie's not done, right? It's still a lot of post-production.
Okay, but hold on. Hollywood is littered with movies that have done better ramp up further out than what they're doing. So I mean, there's a difference between what you saw at the Batman and the difference what you saw in the Flash. That was
I understand, but I mean, the teaser trailer are supposed to give you an idea of what the movie's supposed to be, right? The movie starts out with Keaton talking to Barry. They can go to any timeline, any universe you want. Why do you want to save this one? And it's showing, it shows that he's going into the mansion, to Wayne Manor. It shows him the new suit. He's outside of his mom's house. He's walking inside to see his mom now, and it's in all this stuff. And you're seeing all this stuff's going on. There's someone on the floor. There's all this bloody stuff. You're like, oh my God, what's going on?
With all that, Jose, what did that do for the Flash? We're still looking at the Flash as if it's a bunch of Cheerios thrown into a dryer right now. So
Right.
none of that did anything for it. Now a trailer, different story. Trailer, if they nail this with a trailer, they could really set in motion.
Let me tell you that teaser right now has about almost 9 million views on YouTube. All the comments are people hyped up. There's a bunch of reactions, people YouTube reactions. Yeah. Everybody's all hyped up, like, oh my God.
So the 12% of the population that makes up that is not going to translate into what they want. You got to realize that YouTube
for a teaser, that's pretty good in my opinion. I think when the official trailer comes out, of course, that's supposed to get everybody.
What I said. That teaser was.
Well, it was even Ezra Miller when he introduced it, he was like, "This is just we just put something together."
Well, he was being coy. He was playing.
But I mean,
it looks like it's something that they threw together. It just really
they did to a point, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so when the actual trailer comes out, I mean, obviously we're gonna see some full on finished VFX Flash craziness.
How long has it been since that teaser came out? How long has it been?
3-4 months.
Yeah, DC Phantom was October.
Yeah, like 3 months.
Because I feel like it's been long enough that people like the hype they got from that trailer, from that teaser, pretty much faded away, and that's why people are frustrated.
Well, and you got people on January 1st like trying to kill the whole hype.
So. Well, I blame Warner Brothers on that. I mean, yeah, you're always going to have fans that jump to those conclusions, but once again, when there's somebody out there setting the pace, a lot of that stuff, those people can still talk, but they look like assholes now. When in contrast, the person who's laying it out, we had remember the DC Infinite, the app they had, the website, they had a show on there that was the DC Daily. For the most part, it was kind of just lame because they were just talking about filler stuff. But they need something like that on a semi-regular basis that a DC president or DC somebody gets on YouTube and just answers to the best of his ability questions and interacts with people like that. And so say I'm in the chat and I posted, hey, I heard some stupid crap that you guys are going to do like that. Now, obviously, he's going to be a professional and not be able to answer it in great detail, but he can answer it to the point where he can steer the ship. All right. So instead of the people on January 1st reacting, you're not reacting to anxious fans. You're reacting to information. I blame them.
It's ridiculous though. What this person said, I have a friend that saw a screening of it. There's no way that's true.
No, it's not.
And everyone is just going and believing this because they're already being negative about the Flash movie. They don't want it to succeed. They want it to fail. So they're gonna believe anything that's negative about it just to fit their narrative.
Yeah. Now, by contrast,
their narrative would be so weak in the presence of real presence. Yeah. You know what? I don't. Like I said, I blame the corporation for that narrative even existing. Yeah. Because they can dictate where that goes for the most part.
Yeah, because
they can draw a line. They can marginalize the extremists just by the fact of their own. When I go up and I have that DC Films banner behind me and I'm answering the questions, if you're asking a dumbass, then you're a dumbass. But I'm here answering your questions, laying it out for you. Now, if you choose to listen to Joe Bob's blog or Jimmy Jack's whatever, that's on you. Or great. But if I'm giving you the info, I'm drawing the line in between the knuckleheads and the people who are actually wanting to go forward. Right now, there's no line there because there's nobody giving any true information.
They're not doing it.
Right now,
they're joking themselves.
Right now, the best counter narrative, the good counter narrative we have is like the guy that claims like he's worked on the set for Flash and said that he saw Batfleck and Superman.
Oh, and I believe that guy way 100% more than this other.
Why is it up to some random guy? Why is it up to some random dude? You see what I mean? That's a problem.
I get what you're saying, William. It's like lean into it. Just be like, yeah, guess what? Or somebody tease like the fucking red cape or the boots or something like that.
The thing is, like, there's been stuff it's like little cookie crumbs that people like months later they find. I think there was like a THR article or something that came out that said, "Oh, Henry Cavill's not done playing Superman. He might show up in cameos, this and that. He might be in Black Adam. He might be in Shazam." The article came out for one day. People talked about it, and they completely forgot about it. And then, well, it looks like Henry Cavill was in The Flash. This guy said he was on set, and he took a picture. And the picture that I'm sure you guys all saw it, it literally looks like the suit that Ezra has on in the teaser trailer. And he said, I was on set, the Flash was there with Batman and Superman, and it was Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And you see how all that confusion can hurt your momentum and hurt your product?
Yeah.
That's just bad marketing. That's what I mean by what they've done the last 8 or 9 years has been such horrific marketing.
But don't we also don't these people also leak stuff on purpose too? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like No Way Home was leaked all that stuff was leaked on purpose.
The problem with No Way Home is, once again, it didn't matter what was going to get leaked by No Way Home. That movie was still going to do.
Oh, yeah,
Two, you had credibility. The company doing the leaks, the people doing the leaks had credibility of making good movies behind them. When you're DC Comics right now, you need to have somebody out in front because you just don't have that credibility. You can't compare what's going on with Marvel to DC because they haven't done it right. They have no credibility as far as
They don't have anything done right now.
Yeah, so I need somebody in a DC Films t-shirt or whatever, a polo t-shirt,
a cap, a baseball cap.
Every other Wednesday, whoever it is saying I'm so and so, and that title under my name. That means more than Grace Randolph. That title under my name means more than Joe Bob's blogger, because guess what? That title on my name, that company that's actually making the movie, that matters. Okay, so if somebody was like that setting the table, then all these other goofballs get chased away from the table. But right now, because you're just allowing for scoopers and bloggers.
You know what that person should do? They should post a meme and say, "Shut the fuck up and wait for the film." And then
no, but you're not.
Everybody working on that wants that. Yeah.
The problem with that is if by the time you get to the point where the film is released, if you haven't ramped up the marketing momentum and put out the good vibe, your movie's going to get hurt, because there's plenty of movies out there that are great movies. That are great movies that bomb because the lead up to 6 months to 9 months leading up to them wasn't done right. So just wait till the movie is released isn't going to be good enough if that's your job to make that movie.
The thing to me is, like, I've always said that DC, I feel like DC is just damned if they do and damned if they don't, because
it's damned if you do it wrong. Damned if you do it like
but let me just finish, because it's like the whole what's the thing with the DCU is like, it's not, people say it's not connected and this and that. So it's like, you want the DCU to be like the MCU, but then you got people that don't want it to be like the MCU. And then you got the DC fandom is so divided because you got the I mean, to be honest, not to be controversial for everyone to hate me, but I mean, it was basically Zack Snyder, because people didn't like the movies. What do you mean? He worked for WB?
He's not the head of the studio.
No, I understand that, but I mean, he made the movies, and I love Man of Steel. I love BVS, but there's so many people out there that do not like those movies, and they blame those movies for them not being DC fans, because they're like, that's
a cop out. I'm sorry, because guess what? Any executive can add either on their cell phone or on their fingers or on their damn toes. If I have a movie that makes $678 million and my next stab at it, the next one makes $858 million, I listen to the box office first before I listen, because a lot of those people that are whining will never buy a ticket to that movie. So those dumbasses listen to people who are never going to go to these movies. They let people sitting behind a keyboard dictate the course of their movies over box office.
Right.
BVS had a big. It got dragged through the mud. Like,
BVS, I don't care if it got dragged.
Well, I mean, everybody kept on saying it should have been $1 billion. Should have made $1 billion. Should have made $1 billion.
And
the expectations were way too high.
Yeah, and that's why you fire people who come
and lest we forget all those critics that were trashing BVS when the Ultimate Edition came out. A lot of them
turned around,
apologized to Zach, because like you saw the full movie,
big time.
Yeah.
Doug, you have something to say? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Suicide Squad got cut to shit and made $750 million
Yeah.
and won an Oscar.
I always forget that it won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar award winning.
Yeah, but yet you
DC
could
won
That
an
could
continue,
be-
Oscar
couldn't
for
continue
Marvel
along
movie.
that path. It
That
made
could be
$600
for-
million.
I mean, that could be for many reasons. Could have been just a bunch of dudes that wanted to go see Margot Robbie and just kept paying. They didn't care about
Well,
the movie. They just
There's
wanted to
no
go
way
see
Margot
that
Robbie
movie's
and
not a
booty
sequel.
shorts. See, the thing that the beauty part about that movie was Margot Robbie and booty shorts, and then for the females, it was like, hey, it was Jared Leto fucking kind of bulked up and shirtless the whole time. So it
And
was
you know
like
what?
that's why I thought
Suicide
the
Squad.
Harley and Joker movie would have freaking put asses in the seats on Valentine's Day instead of fucking Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
I mean,
To answer your
Hey,
question,
no Birds of Prey. slander.
agree.
the whole movie. To answer your question is they have damn if they do, damn if they don't know, because they haven't done it right yet. You don't have a comparison to them actually running a file or machine to really compare it.
But
to.
I mean, you got people that you got people with the Suicide Squad, with Peacemaker, literally, because James Gunn has liked the tweets, and I know he likes to tweet just because they're praising him and whatnot. Oh, this is the best thing that DC has done in a while since the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm like, what are you people talk? Why does it always come down to the Dark Knight trilogy? When you have forget BVS, you have Man of Steel, you even have Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? You have Shazam, and these people are just, the best thing since the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, are you serious? Like, what era are you living in?
You have a zoo.
It's because
You have a zoo, and you've let all the cages open. That's DC films.
But Wonder Woman is a great movie. Shazam is a great movie.
Okay, it's a great movie that made 400 something million. Wonder Woman, that Wonder Woman.
That was bad marketing and release date right there.
If BVS doesn't happen, does Wonder Woman, or Aquaman for that matter, have that kind of momentum? No. But we changed the trajectory of all that stuff, and I ended up with Wonder Woman 84, which was a horrific movie. So
that movie gets too much hate, I think, honestly.
They are 100% to blame for all of this because they didn't dictate the terms.
Hey, but
let the animals out of the cages, and they just sat around and hoped for the best.
Like I've said before, I mean, I give Warner Brothers at least props because they let Zack make this movie. They let Zack tell him, okay, Batman is gonna be killing dudes. Superman is gonna die at the end, and they were like, okay, all right, go ahead and make it.
Because they had him cut out.
They could have. Yeah, but the half hour, then they released it on the extended Blu-ray. I mean, come on,
your credibility is already shot. You can't do stuff like that.
What are people still talking about today? Oh, Superman never should have died in the second movie. Why was Batman? Well, even though it's explained in the movie why Batman is killing. Oh, Batman is killing. Superman this. Lex Luthor is horrible. We're gonna be talking. These people are gonna be saying this stuff 30 years from now. Oh, the Martha scene is horrible. It's terrible, and it's like, okay. Well, they still let him make this movie.
They're wrong.
They're
wrong.
They had enough, and you know what I saw somebody say actually online. I don't know if they were actually trolling. They said that WB let Zack make this movie and let it be so divisive because they were hoping that it would fail. So that they could get rid of him.
No one makes a movie. No one produces a movie hoping that it will fail. What are these idiots?
Yeah, well, that's that. Yeah, no, that's why I said it's like, is he trolling or was he serious?
Yeah,
it's hard to tell sometimes. Ridiculous. It's hard to tell.
No,
I've heard for years. We've heard people in the militant side of the movement saying that Jeff Johns was leaking stuff to
Kevin Feige.
To Kevin Feige because he wanted these movies to fail.
I just saw this guy getting dragged on Twitter the other day because he said that the Titan season 2 or something with the Deathstroke story, that's what Jeff Johns stole from Ben Affleck's script. And I was like, and I'm like, dude, Deathstroke is a Teen Titans villain, right? He's not a Batman. He's not an original Batman villain. He's a Teen Titans villain. And that story is directly from
the comics.
That story is directly from the comic. And even some comic writer like replied to him, was
But
like, you know what, you should,
George Perez and Marvel.
you should read this comic so you could learn something. I was like, oh my god, dude, like you're getting
Oh yeah,
embarrassed on-
that was really bad. That
I was
he
like,
got.
what? Are
I
you?
know
think it was the
exactly who you're talking about.
I think it was that same dude
Yeah.
that was talking about like the budget about the Batman being
Yes.
and I was like, dude,
He's one of those where I'm like, I gotta send that Jonah Hill like fucking gif where it's like, dude, just stop, man, stop. You think you know what you're talking about, but you don't. You don't. You're trying to sound smart. You're not.
This is where I mean the whole thing is that the Warner Brothers executives did not understand that the general audience takes time to get invested in new versions of the characters. The reason why Avengers hit 1.5 billion is because people were invested in those. At the very least, they're invested in Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man.
thank you,
But
Kerry. You're bringing up a good point.
But the Captain America and Thor were modest successes. They're critically at least well received, but they were modest successes and didn't derail the plans. And so they could keep going and keep building it. Whereas the people at Warner Brothers assume just because you put a character in a costume, that means people are automatically going to show up. No, you got to write good characters. You got to write a good story. And I mean,
yeah, that's where I was trying to
had that, and they assumed it would make $1 billion. Because Batman and Superman are in it. Like, no, we don't know this version of Batman yet. We're general audiences. I'm one of the few people. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. You didn't need a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie, but I think a solo Man of Steel sequel prior to BVS would have helped a lot.
Yeah, that's where I was trying. That's where I was trying to get to my when I'm with my damned if you do, damned if you don't comment, because that's a lot of criticism, right? That there weren't any solo movies. Because I was saying,
I just think you need one more.
if DC would have done the solo movies, they would have been like, oh, they're just trying to be like the MCU. Because they didn't do the solo movies. Why aren't they being like the MCU?
But whose job
is
is
the audience shows up and people are in there's enough people like it won't matter.
Once again, you're running a company. You're running a company. You need to know who to listen to or not. You need to know who's the whiny bitch and who's the person who's actually you should be listening to.
Yes.
And if you can't do that, get the hell out of the corner office.
They don't care about whining. They don't care about
whining. DC films in 2013 to 2016 cared about whining. They listened to whining and they lost their shit because they didn't everything that they had done from Man of Steel, that they did it in the right order, and in my opinion, they did it in the right way. What the two things that they did wrong: A, they put out $1 billion standard, which they should have been that was stupid, and they changed their course based on bullshit. Those are the two things that they made. Not the order of the movies, not the quality of the movies, give or take. But the two cardinal sins that they are still paying for to this day is they put on $1 billion standard of those movies, which was dumb, and they changed course based on bullshit. All right, and that is the two mistakes.
And why? Because they had their big brother in the MCU breathing down their neck.
No, you're Warner Brothers. You've been around 100 years. You don't have a big brother. All right.
No, I don't mean
that's the way they should have looked at it.
They were in the shadow.
Okay, then that's their fault.
Yeah, a bunch of idiots.
That's who
they
you
didn't have confidence in their idea.
Well, they've always been trying to chase it. They've always been trying to chase it. Look at Green Lantern. You can't tell me that wasn't a response to Iron Man. That was totally a response to Iron Man.
Then you need to replace people. Then, if you're DC, you're the oldest comic book. You created the superhero. You created the superhero team. You created the multiverse. You created everything. If you can't put yourself into a frame of mind where you're creating for your own, then you need to replace those people. That's what we're at today.
Can you guys imagine where
I was saying that from 2017. All of these idiots should be replaced. All these clowns.
I was gonna say, you can imagine where we would be if Justice League Mortal came out.
Justice League. Oh, you're talking about I know you're talking about George Miller's.
Yeah, that was gonna be the first movie, a whole straight up Justice League movie, and then what would happen?
That should have been made. I heard that Nolan stopped it. Nolan put a stop to it. Nolan stop it. It's Christopher Nolan stopped it.
Yeah, because he wasn't thinking about having multiverse type of situation.
No. Well, even when he was approached for Superman, he was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I know a guy. I could recommend a guy. I got a guy.
And we got the guy.
Yeah. Let me
two mistakes right there.
to Leroy's point, because you said it a bunch of times already tonight. Let me ask you guys, and it's about to get a little controversial in here. Because I've said it in the chat. Eric knows I've said it in the chat before.
Yes, he has, and I've been waiting.
Why? Okay, there's a lot of discourse about the execs and everything that's going to happen with the merge and all this stuff. My opinion is a lot of it stems from we're just not getting our movies that we want from Zack Snyder. So fire everybody. So I want to ask you guys, why do you get, besides Zack Snyder, why should all these execs, why should Ann Sarnoff, why should Hamada, why should Toby Emmerich go?
Okay, there's so many places to start. I'll start with one.
Can I say something? They're not doing a good job. They're not doing a good job from the beginning. They listen to idiots. They listen to Snyder haters. They panicky like children and all that. They get coward, and they should all go. I'm sorry, they're not doing a good job. They should all go. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. They're not doing a good job. They should all go.
Well, you gotta elaborate
about that.
Aside from the Snyder stuff, in my opinion, they have created a culture of disorganization that radiates out. I don't even have to bring up that. Since 2013, when Tishihara was the CEO, they have radiated a culture of disorganization. They have the credibility as far as them making movies, announcing movies, constantly having to change the directory. They listen to the wrong people. They have everybody at their disposal. Your Warner Brothers at their disposal. They have Jim Lee. They have everybody at their disposal for these IPs, and they find a way. They work extra hard to find the wrong people to put in those positions. Okay.
What?
Thank you, Ryan.
The Joker situation. Let me give you an example of disorganization. All right. Everybody said, "Oh, Joker made $1 billion." Those guys should get credit for that, right? Remember how Todd Phillips pretty much had to go to war to get that movie made. The distribution deal, they literally cost themselves $500 million in distribution because they didn't have enough faith in the person that they hired to do the movie. And that's one after another. The culture of just not having faith in your creatives.
I've seen interviews with I saw an interview with Todd Phillips one time, and he said that the problem with the execs and Joker the main thing was that they didn't understand because it was a standalone movie. They wanted to be connected to everything else, and Todd Phillips said, "No, I want to do a standalone movie." That's why they were hesitant. Because
you just gave me another reason. Okay, now I have 10 reasons. How did you hire a guy? How do you hire a person and go that deep into the process, not knowing what you and him? How are you not on the same page with a guy that you got on the payroll? And
this was when he was pitching it. This is when he was not.
No, this is all. I read other stuff about him having to fight them off while the movie was in production for the same reasons you just brought up. Okay, and is this a pattern that keeps coming up? Insert name here. Okay, and the HBO Max rollout.
They are not doing a good job.
Hold on, I'm giving them specifics. I'm going to bring up Snyder. That's not even one of them. The way HBO Max was rolled out was stupid. Okay, first of all, you had HBO Go, you had HBO Now, you had HBO whatever. All right, nobody knew what the hell was going on with the consolidation of all these things. They didn't have a global rollout plan before it even happened. That was stupid. And when you did roll it out, there was so much confusion. Everything should have been consolidated before HBO Max was even put out. That slowed its roll up, and they didn't have the proper movies in place, licensing agreements and everything else. So movies were rotating in and out. That hurts your credibility. All right. There's a whole bunch of things that hurt your credibility. Hiring the wrong people to handle certain IPs and things. Where do you want me to end? What is that not enough? You know, I'm not even saying that they're awful people.
No, those are good points. But let me hear. I want to hear other people as well. Like, what do other people think? Why?
They're trying to please ungrateful people.
Go ahead, Leroy.
They're trying to please ungrateful people. It's going to backfire on you, and that's what they are doing right now. They are pleasing these ungrateful assholes, and it backfires on them. And that's what's happening right now. They're not doing a good job. They're pleasing these Marvel people, Marvelize DC. It's not going to work. I'm sorry.
With what? The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker? Those are nothing close to Marvel type of content. You would never see anything like Peacemaker or the Suicide Squad in the MCU.
The only reason James Gunn has a job there is because they quoted him because of his EMC, not because he did EMC stuff, but that whole not knowing your IP, not having an understanding of your customer and your IP from day one has continued to hurt them. You know, some of these movies, the Suicide Squad, unless you had a long form plan for immediately after the Suicide Squad, and I'm not talking about Peacemaker, why did you're making this movie while you have not resolved the basis of your universe? That's just bad business. Most of these characters are derivative characters that nobody gives a rat's ass about outside of the main characters that brought them into these universes. So now you're giving me a slate of B and C characters when you haven't resolved the A characters. That's backwards marketing.
But don't we want the creative people to have the creative control of the things that they're doing? Like, do we want these directors to have creative freedom? Isn't that what we want?
You want directors to have creative freedom, but you also have to, as an executive producer, as somebody running things, you have to have them operate within the envelope that you're doing. Like, you can go, Jose, I'm giving you a movie to make. I'm not going to be over your shoulder, but it has to fit within the lexicon that we're doing to a certain point. Otherwise, I have a standalone movie that's great, but guess what? I have no forward momentum now.
Because my thing is like, okay, James Gunn, he decided when they asked him, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to do Suicide Squad. He could have completely rebooted the whole franchise and said, okay, everyone's going to look. Superman. I mean, Harley Quinn looks exactly like she did in Ayer's movie with the tattoos and everything. He even evolved her and changed her. So that basically, this movie is a sequel to Ayer's Suicide Squad. Even if they don't address things that happen, it's in that world. And what is Suicide Squad happens after BVS.
So now I have 11 reasons. Why the hell am I asking him what movie he wants to create, and if it doesn't fit into my overall scheme? That's a Hail Mary. That's desperation.
Right, but right now we're here. Okay, Suicide Squad. Peacemaker. The hardcore is going to be in Black Adam. That's the rumor, right? She's gonna be in Black Adam. That's gonna be teasing the next Suicide Squad movie.
That's too late, man. That's too late.
And now there's rumors of
already shot.
But why
you're telling me what's happening from this point on? But the damage has already been done.
See, my thing is, since 2017, since the Justice League came out in 2017, what's been okay? We had Aquaman. Aquaman made $1 billion.
Why did Aquaman make $1 billion? Why?
Because of an entertaining movie.
Not because of the people that were about to fire.
Because of Jason Momoa's ass.
Because of Jason Momoa, and it was an entertaining movie. Zack Snyder.
Okay, so I'm not trying to cut you off, but you're asking me why these people shouldn't be removed, right? But you can't bring up things that they have very little to do.
No, but let me continue, because see, my thing is like, okay, we had Aquaman, then we had Shazam. Then we had Birds of Prey. Then we had Wonder Woman 84. Then we had the Suicide Squad. Let me finish. And my thing is that there's a lot of discourse around these movies because people just don't like these movies. They don't like these movies. But there's people that do like these movies, that they do enjoy these movies. And you got this constant back and forth of people butting their heads because, this and that is that. It's trash, it's this and that, but it's like, okay, there's people that actually enjoy these movies. Look at you want to talk about Rotten Tomatoes or wherever the hell, or anything that rates, anything that gives ratings online. People enjoy these movies. People for overall enjoy all the DCEU movies. The scores aren't that low.
Okay,
compared to the critic scores. That's my thing.
Scores to the power company and pay my bill. All right. At some point, box office matters.
What I'm saying, William, is that these movies, people act like these movies are so horrible. DCU is a mess, and people are out here enjoying these movies, and they want to see what's. Okay, Birds of Prey. Say whatever you want. It's gonna get a spinoff movie. It's getting a Black Canary movie. Black Canary is supposedly gonna be in Batgirl.
People need to go. You just keep giving me reasons, but go ahead.
So I'll say this. My wife is big into organizational behavior and corporate management and things like that. You can always judge a corporation by people getting off a sinking ship. And if you evaluate that, Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder, David Ayer, Ben Affleck, these people have gone to other companies. James Gunn came into this company because Disney cast him aside. They fired him. That's why DC lucked into James Gunn. And say what you want, people have been shedding from Warner Brothers, and it was a legacy brand that the new people, Ann Sarnoff and Tomy Emmerich, have trashed. They have trashed the corporate management there. And this is everything without even talking about the Joss Whedon, Ray Fisher BS.
Doug, what studio put out the Way Back with Ben Affleck? Which studio was that?
The Way Back?
Yeah,
Warner
that was
Brothers,
Warner Brothers.
Was that Warner?
Who did
Yeah,
King
but they
Richard
were
with
banking.
Will Smith?
They were banking.
Was
on
that a
being
legacy
$1 billion
deal, though?
movie.
No,
They
but
were banking that.
but I see this stuff all the time that Warner Brothers lost. They lost all these actors. They lost all the. Okay, no, they didn't, because they're still doing movies. Will Smith is gonna win an Oscar for King Richard. That's a Warner Brothers movie, and I see people saying, "Oh, they lost Will Smith because they're not releasing the Erica." Like, come on.
These could be legacy
that's not
deals,
what
though, that are left over, though.
That's completely beside the point, because those aren't movies that they're banking on to be their marquee properties.
They're not.
Yeah, but
if anything, they're pleasing Gavin O'Connor by letting him release The Way Back and with Ben Affleck, because they're hoping he'll make it an Accountant 2 movie, which will make some amount of money.
And they already have the distribution deal signed 3 years prior. So it's really a matter of semantics. But the morale of the company, there's just too much. The culture of the company needs to change.
It's showing.
They do not know how to run DC. They do not.
I mean,
know how to run DC.
They let James Wan make Malignant. Who do you think was going to let James Wan make Malignant?
Well, he made $1 billion.
I like the
I did not expect that movie to do well at all.
Which movie?
Emmerich had no confidence in Aquaman whatsoever beforehand. They were very much like, we don't know if we're going to make a sequel to this, so that's why they said just throw everything into it. We'll just see what happens.
Where are you getting that from?
So now, like, Juan, please make the sequel and make anything else you want in between.
Hold on. Where are you getting that Toby Emmerich wasn't confident with Aquaman?
He said it in an interview. They asked him, what are you most excited about for Aquaman? He's like, oh, that we're going to make the release date. And the interview had to do a clarifying question of, let me ask you another question. What are you excited about it creatively? And then he spun some, baby, because this might be something my daughters are actually into. So those answers tell you that he doesn't believe in the brand. He doesn't believe in the IP. He doesn't believe in the character. And I think they just didn't have the confidence. Those answers tell
Toby
you.
Emmerich is an idiot. He's an idiot. Toby Emmerich is an idiot, and he's a clown. And
Jose loves Emmerich.
Here's the thing, Jose. Here's the thing. These guys may not even be awful people, and they might not be awful in sex. They're just not the. Where'd he go?
Did they just leave? Did
he pop out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll finish my sentence. They're just not the right people for this time, and they're not the right people for these particular jobs. And it's just I liken it to this. When you have a house in your neighborhood that just looks like crap, and you're trying to sell it, right? And everybody that drives by that house, like, nobody's going to buy that house. There's birds crapping everywhere. There's an engine hanging from the thing. But guess what? When you bring in somebody to clean all that up and you throw a fresh new coat of paint on that, now when you drive by and there's a for sale sign and there's people looking at it. And that's what DC Films is right now, Warner Brothers in general. It just needs a fresh new coat of paint. And the new people need to come in. And the first thing they need to say, in some effect, is we're not those guys. This is whatever issues you have with the prior regime, that's over with.
There you go.
That's over with. We're starting here, and then you just create a new culture. But sometimes you just need a fresh new coat of paint.
Yeah, this does not seem like the Warner Brothers that put out the original Matrix trilogy. There was a great line in that where Lana Wachowski just kind of trashed it. It's like, we're gonna make the Matrix without you or with you. And
that was definitely a jab.
It was a jab at Warner Brothers. And
they both of them probably had problems.
This is not the Warner Brothers that would have put out a movie like Watchmen. That was a huge risk. With Alan Horn and Greg Silverman and everybody that came before the current regime, it's a different Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and Jeff Robinoff needs to come back. I mean, I know they're not going to listen to me. I'm not Jose. But the guy who should be running Warner Pictures should be the guy who should have taken the job in 2013, and he got sidestepped for Ishihara, and that was a gift that kept on giving. That was like a venereal disease that just has been giving since 9 years. So if they can get Robinoff back, he's the guy who brought a lot of these names that have gone away. He's the guy who built that castle. So if he comes back, I don't care what Ben Affleck said in the interview. If the guy who brought you in and brought all your people in that made you comfortable comes back, you're going to rethink some things. So, but it's just mainly, Jose, the culture. The culture of Warner Brothers right now is not good. and it radiates. You can feel it at all different levels.
Yeah. And what I was saying in the yeah, and what I was saying in the Q&A on a Wednesday night. Sorry. Yeah, what I was saying in the Q&A for like Wednesday night about with that report that was later deleted that Zaslav may come in as early as April. If that happens, the sooner he comes in, the more time Andy Muschietti will have to do his whatever additional photography he wants to do, and I would say that would include Ray if he wants to come in, because the sooner Zaslav comes in,
I really hope so.
The earlier he'll be able to like get rid of these.
Well, I don't know if he'll get down to the micro level as far as like what Ray Fisher's situation. I think the most important thing that he can do is right now he probably his name is DC Films president. Name the person and let that person handle it. But you got to realize they're taking over, and we hope these guys will turn things around. But they have a lot to turn around. They have a lot. It's a huge company that they have to turn around.
Can you guys hear me?
Hello,
yeah.
Hey, I'm back. No, I wasn't mad, and I didn't I didn't rage quit on you guys.
Yeah, I was one.
No, but
I said what I said.
I hear what you guys are saying. I hear you guys' point. It's just to me, I don't really get into this whole like, oh, these guys suck, they need to be all fired, because I see it as like, okay, because like I said before, maybe it's just me, but it's like I see a lot of it coming from people that are just like, well, it's because we're not getting our Justice League sequel, so they should all be fired.
No, that's silly. I agree with you there. That is silly. But like I said, I can even bring up Justice League and give you a lot of reasons that these guys
right.
Really,
what you think? Because I don't think this should be a reason, but what do you think that the HBO the day and day release thing should be a reason for them to be let go?
No. When it comes to Kylar, I don't think so.
No, because I think that was they were doing the best that they could do in the situation.
That's what I was saying too.
Well, Kylar's gonna get bounced because his job is redundant, not because he's literally going to be sitting next to a guy that replaces him. Zaslav is Kylar, so it's really, and plus Kylar's not going to stay around. I mean, Kylar can get a job somewhere.
Yeah, because I see people
right now Kylar's at Warner Media.
So look at all these box office bombs. They're going to get fired because of that. I'm like, no. Come on. You got to.
No, they're going to get fired because there needs to be a culture change. There just needs to be a fresh new paint put on that ugly house, and everybody needs to see that house in a prettier light.
People were saying that. Oh no, I remember seeing people arguing like, oh no, big directors want to work for. I'm not trying to say he's a big director, but I mean, as an Oscar-winning director, I don't want to butcher his name, but the guy that directed Parasite, he's doing a movie for Warner Brothers now with Robert Pattinson, and everyone was saying, "Oh, nobody wants to work with WB. Nobody's gonna work. No big director's gonna work with WB."
No, it's just some of the
people who say that are dumb.
Oh, because they're racist, because they're a racist studio and this and that. It's like, really? Come on.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something? When Walter Mother is fully in charge, they didn't make as much money when Zack Snyder started. Because Shazam made less than the theatrical Justice League theatrical. Wonder Woman 84 made less than Justice League theatrical. The Suicide Squad made less money. Birds of Prey failed. So Walter Mother failed.
That's fine, but you can't judge movies based on the box office. You can't, because how many great movies bomb at the box office? You can't judge a movie based on the box office.
For the most part,
Walter Mother failed.
Zack Snyder was one of them.
Failed. I'm sorry, he failed.
Yeah, when Zack Snyder didn't make the mythical billion that should have never been expected, that caused a seismic shift from the top down. So the box office does matter to a certain extent, especially if you're when it comes to prestige.
It matters to
the first 5 DCU movies made more money than the first 5 MCU movies with Zack Snyder.
And
they made more money than the first 5 MCU movies with Zack Snyder. They should let Zack do his thing. But they get scared. They get scared of these idiots. Let Zack finish his act. Would have finished his act already right now.
We would have been done with it already. We would have been done.
What Warner Brothers did to Zack with Justice League is one of the sleaziest and scumbaggiest thing that they could have done. But I don't know if anybody else agrees. Because I've had years to think about this. The boss was Kevin Tsuchihara. He was the boss. He was the one calling the shots.
Right.
I don't think nobody else is gonna go against the boss and what he's saying. Be it Jeff Johns, be it Toby Emmerich. If Sujihara said you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, you're gonna make it 2 hours. That's what they were gonna do. And a lot of people like to blame, and they want to blame. They still want to blame Toby Emmerich. They still want to blame Jeff Johns. And I'm not trying to, keep them from any blame. But I mean, do you guys agree? I mean, if the boss is calling the shots, what are you gonna do?
Oh, but once again, when I fire the head coach, many times I'm firing in the coordinators too, and I'm going to bring in my own people.
You really do,
because I want all of them.
I'll get rid of all of them.
I mean, and I'm not going to do it like I'm not going to be an asshole about it. Like I said, I'm not going to grab Hamada by his ear and throw him out of a window or nothing like that. He has the respect of an executive.
I was Zaslav. I was like, you go.
No, but as long as their names, it's just sometimes you just got to clear the air. And this is a situation where you need to clear the air, bring in some new people, bring in a brand new outlook of the company, and create that defining line that this is where we begin and they're ending. All right. So that way they shed a lot of the dead weight that we're talking about one way or another. These new people cannot continue with the dead weight that's been built up since 2013. No matter what you think about it, it's not fair for everybody that they're going to employ and put into positions to have to deal with.
Well, what's the dead weight, William? Just movies that didn't.
The dead weight is the confusion. The dead weight is the confusion. The dead weight is the lack of organization. This last DC fandom, if you wanted a PowerPoint of why people shouldn't be around anymore, that last DC fandom was it. If I were to call you in the office and say, you know what, I'm letting you go, I don't even have to say any words. Here, let me press play on this YouTube video for DC fandom. That was horrific. That was not good. And that was emblematic.
They had some missed opportunities for sure.
Yeah. And that was emblematic of everything I'm saying. It is a culture that radiates out. So sometimes you just got to, like I said, replace everybody to the point. You're not fired. I'm going to place you somewhere else. Some of these guys will still be within the company. Some of these guys, there's other places within the company. They just can't be in charge of the major IPs that they're looking to do a lot with. Well, some of them are going to leave anyway.
I personally, if I was in charge, I'd have a better job than these idiots. If I was in their position, I'd have a better job than WWE.
My look at it is like Emmerich, I think, is on his way out. Dude, Sarnoff and Hamada, everybody always says Hamada is going to get fired. I don't know.
His contract is up in 2023, so that problem.
I hope he gets fired. Hamada's going to get 35 years, he gets fired. I'll be so happy.
I like the football coach analogy because Sarnoff and Emmerich are talking like football coaches. They're going to get fired. Hamada, I could see him going back to New Line and just doing his thing. But yeah, it's going to major do so.
Or they'll just let them run out their contracts. They just won't be assigned to anything. They'll just pay them out or they'll buy them out. Because some of these guys, believe it or not, we may not like them, but other execs will be like, hey, this guy fits my company, so let him go to that company. Here's your buyout. Here's your severance. Now you're free to sign with those guys.
Let me ask you guys another thing. Who do you think they have more of a bigger problem with, Zach or his fans? And you know what type of fans I'm talking about.
I would say the fans.
I agree with William.
Unfortunately.
It's a sad fact of the matter.
And it sucks too because the vast majority of us are not like that.
Yeah,
and
it's
just so loud,
man. Yeah, it's so sad. If you look at when someone calls them out, hey, dude, you realize you're being toxic. Their only response is, well, people on the other side are more toxic. Yeah, that is not a reason for you to be like that.
They're in a cult. No, you're in a cult. No, you're in a cult. You're in a cult. I hate that shit. I'm like, is everybody in a cult? I guess.
My thing is just like, okay, like they don't. Oh, we don't have to. Like we don't have to play nice. We didn't play nice, and look, we got the Snyder cut. And it's like, no, that's not the reason why. You're not the only reason why we got the Snyder cut. There are a lot of different reasons why we got the Snyder cut.
All those militants, hey guys, I hate to break it to these people. I hate to break it to these people, but their calls for boycotts did nothing. Carrie and I did far more for the release of the Snyder cut than any of these punks could ever hope to dream of doing.
Yeah.
I would
never want to say boycott anything. When you say boycott something, you're telling the sensible minds that are in these seats, whether they are the incoming or the outgoing or no matter, that you're not a safe bet. And what you're telling the executives that are about to spend money on something you like is that on a turn of a dime, you're going to leave them hanging if they don't do exactly everything you want it to way. So whenever I see people say boycott and Warner Brothers, that's just dumb. Don't do that because Zaslav can see that.
And it's so funny that they're denying that they sounded the call to boycott Aquaman. It's like, dude.
Oh, I remember that. I remember people saying that they were going to boycott.
Well, it worked like a charm.
Nobody called for blah, blah, blah. Shut up.
No, my thing is, like, I don't understand how. Like,
Aquaman is good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you mentioned it, Dave. I think you've mentioned it before that, or I don't know who that. There has to be people that are seeing all this stuff that's on Twitter that these people are saying.
Oh yeah,
and it's like you're saying you're telling these people to fuck off. You're saying that. I mean, some of these people go to
trash,
very big extremes,
doing all this stuff, but please give me what I want.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't make any sense. And then their reasoning is, well, we want to pay for the thing. We'll give them money for the things that we want. That's what we're trying to say. Well, okay, we'll say that. Don't say fuck off and die or whatever the fuck that they're saying about these people.
I think what happened was the fact that we got the Snyder cut and the whole fandom kind of came together and that all happened. I think for certain people, it went to their heads like, oh, and especially the people who thought that they did more than anybody else. And that's the people that hate, like me, because I didn't do enough. I didn't do enough. And all, and I always would say, I was like, I just talked into a microphone. I gave information. That's all, fine. I didn't write a letter to Warner Brothers.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. I didn't call them.
I did.
Yeah. Which is, I always said that I would always
should have been
say,
the one flying the plane, Dave.
Oh, I know, right? I should have skydived out of that plane. No, like I didn't do all that. I didn't do all that kind of stuff. Like I was like, you know what? But if you want to do it, fine. I would always say that. If you want to do that, fine. This is what I do. I have a microphone. I have a camera. That's what I do. If you want to do whatever, that's fine. And and I try to not discourage people from doing whatever they wanted to do to help the cause. But I think it just, when it finally came out, a lot of things got to people's heads. So now they think, oh, if we achieve that, we could just restore the entire freaking thing right now, instant. And now I'm like, whoa, I'll always be like, whoa, this is a little bit different than releasing a movie that was practically almost done, that just needed, that was probably about 70% done, I would say. I didn't say 60 where they needed 40. No, but, it's just this is a whole different kind of thing.
Yeah, and how much are these movies going to cost?
Exactly. And this is like I've talked to Zach, I've talked to people, I've talked to, and it's just like a lot of things where it's like it's not going to be as easy as just releasing a certain movie. And and we always forget, a lot of these people forget too, is like, when they talk about who's the leader of this whole movement, I'm like, it's Zack fucking Snyder. Zach. Yeah, he's the one that really got the ball rolling. He started putting stuff out there. Yes, we backed him up, and a lot of people did their things, but
the
it was really him.
This man has.
But Dave,
right?
you were killing the hype when you said he wouldn't be at Comic-Con in 2018.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, Dave's always killing the hype. That's what it is.
You got to pay attention to when Zach puts out a picture or Jay Oliva, blasts someone on Twitter. That's how you keep the hype up.
Oh man, speaking of that, you remember that picture he posted where he was skiing? Did you guys see the comments on that? There was this one dude, I don't know. He was saying he was seeing Darkseid in the snow. I'm like, okay, guys, I think you're a little too close to the screen there. You got to back up because.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if that's trolling or is it whatever. No, I don't know.
No, because Zach said everything has a double meaning. I was like, dude, he's just skiing. Like, come on, relax.
Yeah. I have a question for William. What your opinion on something is. So Kevin Mayer has been brought in as a consultant with David Zaslav. Kevin Mayer worked at Disney previously. He was one of the major people to get Bob Iger to purchase Marvel Studios. What's your read on Kevin Mayer, and like, what do you think? Like, from your take, what kind of role do you think he could have in the whole ordeal?
He would be number 2 to Zaslav himself. I think he would head up. If it's not Romanoff, it would be him.
Number 2.
He has
all. He take over DC Films.
I don't think he. Maybe
I think he's gonna. Sorry.
No, sure. Go ahead, man.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, I think he's going to be more of like handling all of HBO Max streaming stuff more than anything, not just one particular thing. Sorry, go ahead.
He'll be kind of what I would like to see them do though is raise up DC Films to the level where it's not a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers head right here, DC Films head right here, because the amount of money that can be made with the potential revenue that's made with DC Films, it cannot be under Warner Brothers Film anymore. So that's one structure thing I hope that they do. But as far as that guy, I could see that guy being the number 2 guy, focusing on whatever their priorities are. And Dave's right. The priority going forward is going to be streaming. Right. The amount of revenue that you can bring in on a monthly basis with streaming, especially since day one of the merger, they're going to be global. It's going to shoot through the roof. And what that does is that just puts a lot more money on the table. So you need a guy. That guy has all the tools in his box already to handle this on day one. So I'm happy to hear about it.
So basically, this guy's replacing Emmerich.
I would say.
We'll see. Because
Emmerich at HBO Max right now, right?
I think Emmerich's job is going to disappear.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of collectively thought like that. Yeah. Emmerich, after that Netflix, that thing about Netflix and him, that just seemed like it was like a huge, like, oh, guess what? Somebody, he needs to jump ship because he's going to be shit canned eventually. I mean, he's just decision making in the past decade. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know the logistics. There's just certain.
Here's one good reason to get rid of Emmerich without even having to pull any of that. We're in the streaming era, and he's old school. It would be like keeping a dinosaur.
Yeah, he's an old guard.
Yeah, to operate.
Well, that's why he's been around for so long, because he's been there for a while.
Yeah, exactly. But we're in a new era now, and he just doesn't. A lot of these guys, not just Emmerich.
The future is now, old man. That's what they got to
do. They just don't fit this new
reality. Good job. I'm sorry.
I think he's been running things like Michael Corleone too. So
Corleone, yeah, that could be a kiss the ring. Kiss the ring.
Young. If you look at Kilar's 51 years old, but he's relatively young, and he is accepting of the new streaming reality.
He's he's like an entrepreneur like type.
He helps out Hulu,
Hulu. I mean, that's why when he came in, I mean, obviously, and that's another thing too is like we have to recognize is like anytime somebody new is coming in, we always think they're going to be like the savior. They're going to be like going to give us what we want. That's the problem. The White Knight. I mean, that happened with Anne. That happened with Hamada. That happened with Kylar. And then all of a sudden, what's happening now? Jason Kylar posts something about something, and you look under his comments, you're like, Jesus Christ! He's blocked
people that just
he's blocked people like
tweet,
crazy.
Restore the Snyderverse. He's blocked.
Exactly, because it's just gotten to the point where it's ridiculous, and I'm like, that's not a good message to put out there. First off, I mean, not everybody's going to be a savior. So even when Zaslav comes in, I'm worried about like if there's not an announcement of, hey, I'm going to go ahead and restore the Snyderverse.
Well, I mean, didn't they fire the guys that basically were the ones that got us the Snyder Cut?
Not for the reasons. It had nothing to do with the Snyder Cut, though. They fired.
Oh, you're talking about Green? What's his name?
Greenblatt. It was Greenblatt.
No, and I'm not saying that it was because of that, but they did get fired, right? They did lose their jobs.
Yeah, because a rollout for HBO Max was as disastrous as I had aforementioned.
That conspiracy theory hat was on.
Well, it doesn't help that Emmerich took it all over, and he didn't want more of Snyder. So,
what do you guys more to do with? If you look at how HBO Max was rolled out, that was enough to get anybody fired. And as much as I'm happy that Greenblatt was part of the process that got us what we wanted, it's really that wasn't enough to keep his job in light of the way HBO Max they were behind the 8 ball coming out of the gate, and they're competing with already pre-existing streaming services that are already pulling in billions a month. So you couldn't have that. That's why he was fired. It didn't have anything to do with $70 million that he greenlit for the Snyder Cut. People can shake that out of their shoe, but the billions that he cost them by not having the streaming service where it should be on day one is what he got fired over.
Who do you guys think is like 100% behind the wonderful interview with Ann Sarnoff where she told us to fuck off, basically?
Ann Sarnoff,
yeah. Well, she would be the main one.
Sarnoff basically looked at it and said, "Okay."
And Emmerich, I think Emmerich probably was behind it too. I think Emmerich was part of that too.
See, I don't get that though, because I don't get that because, like I was saying earlier, Sujihara is the one that was calling the shots. If they wanted to, they could easily have just blamed it all on him and been like, "Look, we were just doing what we were told and this and that." But it's like, you're really gonna act like I mean, yeah, Zach made you look stupid. You look dumb because this movie is fantastic compared to what you released in 2017. Okay, get over it. It's fine. You released the movie, but it wasn't. Ann Sarnoff wasn't even there. Walter Hamada wasn't even there. The only one that was there was Toby.
But she was there when she gave the interview, and the problem is with her interview displayed. She basically wrote her way out of a job, in my opinion, because she gave a lack of understanding of 2020s. You first of all, you don't give that kind of interview on the heels of what should be a win for you.
No, you do not.
Before the analytics come out about that, too.
That thing was pre too. I mean, who knows how? Like a week before, I don't know.
So number one, that's bad. Two, just read the article out loud. It just sounds like I said, the dinosaur trying to operate the transporter on the Enterprise. She had such a basic lack of understanding of the future of this industry. That alone is why you replace her. Not because you hate her or because you think she's a bitch or anything else. You need people in these positions that have the imagination and the understanding of where we are going. And those people that are currently in those positions are not
John.
What?
They're naughty.
Yeah. Nothing. They suck.
I mean,
Zach, a little bit more diplomatic with it, but okay.
I mean, Zach put it perfectly. I forget if it was. I don't know if it was on your stream, Dave, or somewhere else. I want to say it was somewhere else, but I could be wrong. Like he says, like, well, you read the Ann article. Ann's article basically is like, well, we gave you what you wanted for, what you asked for. Now stop asking.
Yeah,
that's exactly
what they wanted. Yeah.
So how do we build?
They were just trying to get. I mean, I don't know how, but obviously Emmerich, who obviously he was on. I'm assuming. Seems like he was on the same page as Sujihara. So when Sujihara left, Emmerich just found a way to throw around his own power and get Ann and Hamada bought into it.
All right, but let's think about it though. How realistic would it have been the Monday after the movie came out, that they would have announced, okay, Zach, you're doing part 2. Let's do it. Then an announcement is made. How realistic would that have been?
If you're if you're being done right, it would have been immediately. Here's why.
Yeah.
You had enough
with keeping in mind that Zach, was doing his thing at Netflix as well.
Doesn't matter. You could have announced it and had contracts.
They announced Wonder Woman 3 just almost immediately after Wonder Woman 84 came out.
That's true.
Disney announced the next Captain America movie with Sam Wilson within a week after the last episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
You had enough analytical data. You had enough data there to know that you could make that move, especially on HBO Max. And here's the thing that Ann Sarnoff and Emmerich and a lot of the guys in those positions didn't realize, and when they made that interview, it really showed. You needed to take some time, even beyond that. Make your announcement for Justice League 2 just based on the analytics that you already had. You had those numbers. But as far as anything regarding that content, you needed to look at your entire game plan as far as HBO Max and every analytical piece. Like I've always said this before, Dave, you came onto my stream or you came onto my HBO Max, right? And you watched the Snyder Cut. But what else did you watch? Right? Because I can trace your IP to everything. You watched Aquaman. Did you watch DC Animated? Did you watch Friends? Did you watch a whole bunch of stuff? So how much did that doorway of Zack Snyder's Justice League open you up to a whole bunch of associated IPs? And that gives me leverage for pricing and everything else. That kind of stuff takes 2-3 months to analyze. So to come in with the frame of mind that we're done with it without even taking the time to look at that data, because if you looked at that data, there's no way in hell you could come up with the frame of mind. I have no use for DC animation. Yet I have HBO Max, and it's sitting right there in front of me. After I've gouged through all of the other DC content I want, guess what's next? What else is left? So, and they can tell everywhere I'm going, not only what I'm watching, how long am I staying on the stream?
Mm-hmm.
And all these things take time to put out. They were not.
Oh yeah, it's not just like
why they should go.
Dave,
say something.
Dave,
they have a personal vendetta against Zack Snyder. They hate Zack Snyder. That's the thing. These execs hate Zack Snyder. And
Toby definitely does.
Not about money.
Toby and Hamada definitely do.
Past Zach, but oh crap, what was I gonna ask you? Sorry, Leroy came in and I was like, yeah, go Leroy. But what was I gonna ask you?
You can ask. Yeah.
Let me.
Sorry about that.
I remember. I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to inhale, Jose. I told you.
And I didn't even smoke today.
Oh, wow.
You stole my
Oh,
stash.
oh, I remember now. I don't know if you've ever asked Zach, or maybe you should. Why didn't Warner Brothers just stop Zach from posting those pictures?
Oh yeah, I've never asked that.
That'd be a good question to ask him.
I've never like
have been like, hey, Zach, knock it off.
They had no leverage. They had no leverage to tell them to do anything.
But that's their movie, though.
No, because he owns the film.
Reason,
I think that's
can I give you a reason? They're ashamed. They're ashamed of what they did to Zach. They're ashamed. That's why they don't stop Zach. They're ashamed, and they're ashamed.
I'm not saying that he didn't get emails or phone calls.
If they were ashamed, they would have announced the 3-4 sequels already. So, to make up for what they did.
Their
like
minds are not wired.
It wasn't.
They can't swallow their pride.
They don't want nothing to do with Zack Snyder.
They can't swallow their pride because for one thing, and the other thing. Oh, what was I going to say? As I just don't think. I think they really just underestimated Zach's influence on the fans. I just don't think they thought he had a big enough of a fan base to stir up what he did. And
I believe there's something
he's the only director who engages with his fans that way. You don't, Christopher Nolan has how many fans across the world? He doesn't engage with his fans like that.
I mean, we're making
Zack Snyder is the greatest director ever. Zack Snyder is the greatest ever, and I'm not going to stop saying it. And we need more Zack Snyder.
Keep saying it.
I mean,
yeah, it's coming.
Like we're making.
To me, he's one of the best.
Yeah. I think the big thing we just gotta wait.
No, I mean, I think there's something that when it comes to like a director in the film and stuff like that, I think there's something. I don't know. Like, I remember. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked Zach personally, but I remember just having a conversation with somebody else within a bit of why he was able to still do that, and maybe there was something to the fact that he wasn't put. I don't know. Like it was. I'll have to like revisit that and maybe even
careful. Don't show the sperm. I
know, right?
Yeah, but see, I just don't get it, guys. Like I don't get it because how hard is it just be like, look, Sujihara was a dick. It was all because of him. We're sorry. Let's just, let's put this behind us.
Their brains are wired like his. Their brains are wired like you're talking.
Yeah,
you're talking about get rid of one old school Hollywood dinosaur and replacing him with another old Hollywood dinosaur. Their minds are wired the same.
Old guard.
So solve the problem until they're all gone because you need to bring in people who from day one are going to be like this. I see this for the way it is in 2022 instead of 1982. They're still using 1980s logic in regards to how they approach movies while you have this huge streaming service that can eventually pull in billions upon billions a month. So you can't have, like I said, the dinosaur doesn't even have, the T-Rex doesn't even have the arms to run the transporter right now. That's where we're at with them. I need Scotty. I need the chief engineer to take over from here.
I've given her all she's got, Captain.
Yeah. I mean, I need somebody who understands streaming, understands the future, understands fan reaction, understands all these demographics. These guys just aren't it. They were at one point. There was one point.
Well, we all thought it was Kylar, right? Because he came over from Hulu.
Yeah, but Kylar's job is disappearing simply because Zaslav is going to have a job. Zaslav literally, the presence of Zaslav.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him.
I can't see him being.
He'll be all right though. He's made.
When is the merger supposed to be like 100% complete?
Like probably like the end of April or May, I would say.
And when do we think things are actually like some moves are going to get made?
I would give it 6 months.
I don't know how long that takes. Yeah, it's not going to be instant for sure.
Yeah. Because
there's contracts.
Don't tell people on Twitter that.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I said I'm fearing that loud part of the fandom is going to be like, why haven't we heard anything yet? Oh, they're not doing anything. Fuck Dave Zaslav, and then it's just going to be like that whole campaign.
That would be a mistake though for him not to say
boycott this Zaz.
If you take over the company, don't give don't make any promises, but have a chat, have a fireside chat. Have a fireside chat with people, some fans and people like that.
Hey, Dave Zaslav, come on the vodka stream. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Or have his own stream, have his own, thing.
Here's where they should really capitalize on things. So if the merger closes, April or May, assuming San Diego Comic-Con still happens in July, Zaslav needs to take that stage when Warner Brothers has their panel. If he's going to really if he's going to really send a clear message that Warner Brothers is changing its dynamic and changing the way it does things, he needs to be front and center,
I don't see
saying,
that happening,
"This is
though.
where we're going.
I
This
don't
is the
know.
IP
I
we're
don't
going
think
for.
so.
This
I don't
is
see
how we're
that
going to
happening.
build excitement."
Can I say
If
something?
anything, buddy, it should be
Dave, I
the
think
head
we
of
can-
DC.
Bring on
Why?
Henry Cavill.
Why not?
Can
Why
I say
not?
something?
And
Zaslav should bring on Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck on stage.
No,
I
no,
said
no.
they're still
The only
Superman and
person you
Batman.
need to
Let
bring,
the crowd
the
go
only
for a
person
while.
listen, the only person that you need to bring to that Comic Con, because I only need to see Zaslav on stage for 2 seconds. But at that Comic Con, that's when you introduce the new president of DC Films, because you have that guy already. You're not
Yeah.
going to wake up at the day of the merger and be like, I wonder who I want as my president of DC Films. You have that guy already. So that is when you walk up, say, "Hey, I'm David Zaslav, but you guys didn't come here to see this stuff suit. Let me introduce you to the guy who you're at San Diego Comic Con. Let me introduce you to the guy who's going to be relevant to shaping this company here." And he walks off on the stage, and then that guy introduces himself, and then he gives you.
I would say Zack Snyder on the stage. Zack Snyder. I'm
No,
saying,
not necessarily.
so, yeah.
As much as I love Zack Snyder, even if his arc would have gone to fruition 5 arc, he's not the whole of DC Films. We need somebody out there that's going to give everybody wow, this guy's got a plan.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
This guy's not just going to throw some.
You know what?
breadcrumbs out there.
Now that you mentioned that, William, did Zach actually have a plan for this universe, or did he just have a plan for his movies?
Yes.
His 5 arcs.
From what my understanding is, he had his 5-story arc, and that was supposed to be the basis for other people like James Wan and everybody else to go make their movies. His 5-story arc was what they want, and they could reshape it and redictate it the way they want to, or they could retcon it. But his basically was the basis, the jumping off point for people like Patty Jenkins, James Wan, whoever was going to handle these films from person. But he had a beginning, middle, and
there was
end.
always going to be the chance for like more Man of Steel solo movies after Justice League 3.
Didn't
But
he
not
say
that-
that?
but not
didn't
that
he
with
say
Zack.
Like, didn't
Zack,
he
no,
say
yeah,
that there was
just
going to
another
be?
director would have been perfectly fine, especially if Henry Cavill wanted to keep going at that point.
Wasn't
He
the
had his own
like the
story.
Flash movie was going to be Flashpoint, and just like everything was just going to restart, right?
That was Jeff
That was
Johns.
like the plan or something.
Yeah.
No,
That
that
was
wasn't
Jeff Johns.
Yeah,
That Flashpoint would have been later after Justice
Maybe
League
a
3.
little unclear.
Yeah,
No, I'm
Justice-
saying,
some
didn't
people-
Zach say that or something in an interview that at the
No,
end it was going to
no.
be
Yeah,
a Flash movie?
I even asked him, like, did you have intentions when you cast James Dean
Oh, that's right,
Morgan?
that's right.
Did you have intentions for him to be Flashpoint Batman? He said no.
No.
It was just because,
He's worked with,
Yeah,
he's
I
worked
think
with
it
Jeff
was Jed
Morgan.
who said that,
Media.
but he might have maybe been making
did I say
assumptions.
James Dean? I said Jeffrey Dean.
Yeah, I
Jeffrey
knew
Dean.
what you were talking about.
You're thinking about a whole other kind of movie, Dave.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean, Jeff Dean. Sorry, not James Dean. What the
Now,
fuck?
now,
I've had too many seltzers,
imagine-
guys.
That's a foreign parody right there.
now
It's the
imagine
vitamin
Negan with a red jacket.
Hey, my advice though to fans is just be patient, and not while we're waiting on this, gain a retail understanding of the way these things work. Not just old Hollywood. Understanding old Hollywood will make you understand why these old school people are doing what to do, but get a retail understanding of the future and what streaming means and what the revenue means and things like that, and give them time, because these guys taking over a huge company that has had some dysfunction for like almost 9 years. So he may not get to the Snyderverse immediately. He may not even get to DC Films, but
That's fine because Zach's busy.
Everybody's busy, and it's in going forward. The most important thing is who he names as DC Films president. That's because it's not going to be Zaslav every day. He needs to name a guy who's going to be on top of that IP, and who that guy is going to drive the train, and give him time to do that. And then for on their part, they need to look at the communication that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years and be like, we're not going to do that this way. We're going to actually talk to people. We're not going to tell you everything, but we're going to give you enough so that you're not jump every goof.
It's just so frustrating because like the DC fandom it's such a mess because it's so divided, and you have so many people that,
because no one ever put it together. We need a guy that can put it together. We're always going to have the fringe nuts, but the majority of us are just waiting. What's next? What's going on?
Because honestly, like, what other fandom is like this? Honestly, not even
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, Star Wars is
Menace.
very much like this. Star Wars is
Star
very
Trek.
much
Oh my God, Star Trek.
I don't follow any people. Like, I don't have a lot of like. I don't have any mutuals that are.
yeah,
like,
it's not anything different. I mean, Star Wars. Star
Because
Trek,
it's like on DC Twitter, it's like you got tweets every day comparing one movie or show to another, trashing one to bring up another. You know, fuck Henry Cavill. Tyler Hoechlin is the best Superman. It's like, dude, what is the point?
Well, I assume then you haven't seen what the dust ups are on Twitter about Book of Boba Fett, right?
Oh, well, that's a terrible show. I mean,
Yeah.
where's Ray? I don't want to trigger Ray because he was dying on Friday night, man.
Look, honestly, I was all
He wasn't
on
dying. He was a
board
good
with
discussion.
Ray. Honestly, like, I was frustrated. I was like, when Ray was like face palming all that, it's like, I feel for you, Ray. Cause
But it's like I just don't get like it's just, to me it's like immaturity. It's like you got Shazam is better than all of Zack Snyder's movies. What's the fucking point of tweeting this? You just want to start shit and start arguments.
Like, I unfollowed somebody. I unfollowed somebody today who was really trying to. Somebody with a YouTube channel too, who was saying like Suicide Squad is better than anything Zack Snyder ever made, and I was like, whoa, dude! I'm like, you were trying to start shit right now.
I have yet to see anybody be like, No Way Home is better than all the Russo movies. Like, I only see this shit in DC.
Oh no. MCU is fine. I mean, yeah, there's some. I mean, you'll find some fringe, little sections, but no, yeah, it's just because they what was easy about Marvel was the fact that it wasn't DC. I mean, how many versions of Superman were already out there when it came to movies and live action and everything like that? Nobody knew who fucking Iron Man. It started off strong. They hit the ground running, and then they had a little choppiness when it came to trying to establish the rest of it. But then all of a sudden, when Avengers came out, they're like, "Holy shit!" And we will not name that director, but still, it's like, whoa! They just like went, "Whoa! Look at that! You can have a team up movie." And then all of a sudden, it was like, "All right, now we're just on." So they had the luxury of that. Just imagine though, in about 20 years, when they try to reboot something like that, it's going to be not Iron Man.
That's not RDJ.
But do they have to recast Logan?
Yeah.
So, but what a lot of it is,
X-Men is going to be their first major trial and all
yeah,
that.
with and it's already like what you were saying, William, about how full it was, like how Endgame and so on, how it was like cluttered up. You were saying, just wait till they bring in the X-Men.
Endgame is. Don't get me started on Endgame.
Marvel Clutterverse universe.
You guys overblow it.
Just wait until they bring in the X-Men. That's going to be fun.
There was no reason for Endgame to be 3 hours. There was no reason.
I take every second of it.
No.
I love every second.
Let's not get into this.
All 3 hours. I say it, damn it. But no, I think DC. I think the future is bright. I think the future is bright for DC films, simply because it's just progression.
You can only go up from here.
Yeah, you can only go up from here. And like I said,
but I mean, the Peacemaker is a hit, which is good.
HBO Max is our friend. HBO Max is.
I guess you could say I'm technically boycotting Peacemaker because I'm refusing to watch it.
How dare you?
But
it's
not for everybody.
Oh my
God! On it on HBO Max.
You guys seen the Discord?
Are you boycotting it
whole Superman poop thing?
I have not watched. I didn't like the Suicide Squad at all, so I was just like.
Well, so you have a narrative. You have a. There's a
bias.
reason. If you didn't like what's leading up to it, then that's fine. You're not really boycotting.
You're just a hater. No,
all it is just I'm just not choosing to watch it.
That's fine. And that's totally fine.
You guys have seen the whole Discord with the Superman poop joke?
Yes, I know. And it's sad too, because the whole context of Peacemaker believing that is that he believes things that he reads online. It's
no,
like, all right.
Dave, DC is disrespecting their greatest.
Yeah, I know.
Like, come on, guys.
But I mean, the whole context of Peacemaker is the fact he even says it like
he's an idiot.
Yeah, he even says it. Yeah, he's like he believes like QAnon shit. That's the thing. It's like
look who raised him. Look who raised him.
Exactly, a racist, a super racist. It's like a neo-Nazi.
Robert Patrick deserves an Emmy for that.
Dude, I mean, that's what I'm loving about the show. I love that.
Freddie Stroma deserves a Golden Globe.
For Vigilante.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like,
great.
He seemed like he was annoying at first, but man, that fucking was it third episode or fourth episode?
Fourth episode.
I'm just waiting for him to flip. Because I have a feeling he's gonna flip and like turn on them and turn on Peacemaker and just go full cycle.
If you look at the narrative of the character, it doesn't end well for him. He kills himself in the comics.
And
if you look at that
spoiler alert,
where he sits, I don't think it's gonna happen in the thing, but when he's sitting in the car with Harcourt after she picks him up, you kind of get the sense that he's a little bit deeper. That fourth episode was a game changer for me because, like I said, the jokes slowed down, the over the topness slowed down. And the story started bleeding through. And that's what the thing about James Gunn is. I don't hate James Gunn. I actually think he has more potential than everything he's done. We can only judge him on what he's done, though. And people say, "Well, I wouldn't want him to direct a Superman movie." And I was on another stream. I'm like, "Why?" Because he's done this and this and that.
He wouldn't
like,
do a Superman like that.
Yeah,
Jonathan Demme didn't do anything but comedies and bromances and rom-coms, but yet he went on to direct one of the greatest horror movies ever made, in Silence of the Lamb. Would you have been able to tell me that Jonathan Demme could put that on from his prior work? No. You just have to be able to recognize the basic story structure.
And speaking for me, I mean, like looking at Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and all that. Look, I loved the two Guardians movies, and honestly, and the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker really just solidified what I've been saying about Geoff Johns, is that unlike He Who Shall Not Be Named, and unlike
Did you just name him?
Yeah, and unlike Taika Waititi, he does not.
Oh, I know you're talking
he has a lot of humor in his stuff, but the humor moments, he does not throw humor into dramatic moments that ruin the drama. No, he has
three episodes he did though.
Yeah,
the first three episodes.
The only thing about Gunn is that the jokes drag too long.
Let me finish. Everyone,
sorry.
Back and forth. The back and forth.
Okay, so he had moments of humor and he had moments of drama. Now, arguably, he has too many moments of humor, and a lot of times those jokes don't fit. The jokes don't work for me. But when he gets to the drama, those are really solid. I'll say that.
Yeah, episode 4, he got to the drama. Episode 3, there were stories there in episodes 1, 2, and 3, and they just the cadence kept getting broken up by the goofy rapid fire jokes. And what really, the thing that saved me for this show is I got to see all 3 episodes at once. Usually I don't binge watch, but if I had been fed Peacemaker one episode after another, I might not have made it to episode 4 because the first 2 episodes irritated me.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that 4th episode, those last 15 minutes where he's starting to relive all that stuff, and you start in the song. The one good thing about the show is the song placement is always, the music is always in the right place.
Dude, Gunn, every song that Gunn puts in it has like a meaning to the scene.
Yeah.
It's incredible how he does it.
Yeah,
great use of House of Pain, man.
That was that moment right there, that lead up scene, that was the best so far that he's put out. And a lot of his story making in general, I thought that was some of the best storytelling chunk that he's done, period.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cena was nominated for the show, because I know DC there's a lot of bias with DC when it comes to awards, but I could really see Cena be nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor.
There's no bias; they get awards. Watchmen, remember
Watchmen? When was the last time DC Aquaman being snubbed for VFX? Are you kidding me?
No, Watchmen got for best. Watchmen won.
Oh yeah, that's true. But like, come on, everybody knows that Aquaman should have been nominated for. Best
there's there's other reasons.
James Wan was.
What was the release? What year was there? Something that beat it out though for visual effects.
I don't know.
Sometimes
it didn't even get nominated. There's probably other reasons for that.
I remembered like when I saw the Oscars
got nominated for Aquaman. So.
Yeah, I saw the Oscars that year, and when they showed you the segments of like the films that were nominated for best visual effects, and I looked at them and they went, those were somehow better VFX than Aquaman? I don't think so.
Yeah, that was
there was something else.
Aquaman, yeah.
Before he deleted his Twitter, he was pissed. He was like, it's very unfortunate that they didn't nominate us.
Yeah. But again, like going back to Peacemaker for a bit, I will say this, like, because the dramatic things in Peacemaker have impressed me so much that, there was already some people who were like, when they looked at like the casting announcements at first for Sunset of the Gods, hint hint, but some people were like looking at it, went, wait a minute, why do you have Peacemaker in here? Well, because like one of the actors like here, the one who's playing Joker, also really loves John Cena, and he really loved Peacemaker. So it's like, okay, we'll bring in Peacemaker. But the more I was looking at what we've gotten so far for Peacemaker, the more I was like, hey, we can make references to it. So I think a lot of people may be triggered, but I think you may appreciate what we have in mind.
I think the biggest thing Peacemaker has going for it is what I've already brought up a couple of times, is that we never resolved the core of this universe that they all share, but we're on to this guy. And it really, unfortunately, doesn't have anything to do with what you think about the actual show itself. It's just it's one more thing that pushes us further and further away. And forget if it's Snyder who does it. What's going on with our core characters before you give me Vigilante? I need to know what's going on with Superman and get excited about that. You reference him, and that's great. But I think it's just the fact that
we got Kite Man though, William.
Oh yeah, that was reference.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's not
that
criticizing that. Yeah, it's fun to name drop this and say this and that, but how connected is it? Because there's a lot of people that were criticizing the his whole Batman spiel when he says why Batman's a pussy and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, well, what do you mean Batman doesn't kill? Did they not see BVS? Does this not take place in the world of BVS? Which I say, well.
Even in BBS, he didn't kill Joker, and that's exactly what Peacemaker brings up.
He's talking specifically about killing his villains, not talking about killing people.
I know, just random.
And the only people that saw him killing people was us, the audience. The public doesn't know he was killing criminals.
Yeah.
Right.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's all a big wishy-washy thing. I hate that argument, but
how much do you think that whenever we get to the resolution, so say we get to somewhere where we finish that story arc and we get on a stable footing, regardless of who's directed, as far as Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, all that, how do you think the attitude will be towards these other projects? Do you think it will improve once they've resolved and put us on stable footing with the Trinity?
Yes.
The Flash is the most important.
Maybe not fully. Yeah. I don't know if I see it like being like a full-on resolution. I don't know. It's just the way that everybody is right now. It's like everybody's just like fucking Kylo Ren and Last Jedi. More, it's just everybody's just more. That seems like to be.
But there will also be, on the one hand, you'll have Kylo Ren screaming for more, but on the other hand, you'll have General Hux going, "I think we shot him enough."
Okay.
Well, the numbers will speak for themselves. Yeah.
I think
Leroy, you're going to take off. Leroy.
All right, Leroy.
Thank you for allowing me on your stream. Thank you for So all you guys do a great stream. So
all right. Have a good night, Leroy.
All right.
Take care.
Take it easy.
All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say The Flash is the most important movie. That's the one, because at the end of The Flash, we're gonna see, okay, is Batfleck dead? Is he just in another universe? Is Henry Cavill here as Superman? Is he together with Supergirl? Because we got all these rumors about who's gonna be in the movie, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and all this stuff. Who knows who's gonna show up in this movie? At the end, we're gonna be clear of where this universe is going forward. So until then, I
don't think so, dude. Because by that time you're gonna have a new regime, and I don't think you're going to all these plans beyond Flash. Beyond Flash, I don't think there's anything set. I don't think there's any direction going forward.
Beyond Flash. But Flash, after Flash, it's supposed to be what's after Flash? Batgirl, which is going to lead
on HBO Max,
which is going to lead into Black Canary, which could lead into another Birds of William.
Green Lantern and Justice League Dark have come to a halt.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have.
The Green Lantern course supposedly going to start filming in March, is what I heard. They already got 2 people cast for it. They just need to.
They got Alan and
and then was that going to be
a guy?
Oh, did you guys see?
There you go.
There was a rumor supposedly like Green Lantern was going to get teased and post credit for the Flash. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, who knows if that's going to be the case though.
But the people who made those decisions won't be around. So who's continuing what?
Well, why would they stop these? I remember you said a while back when you thought that they were going to cancel the Batgirl movie, that the new regime was going to completely cancel. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, when I thought it was going to be on the big screen, I was certain that they were going to cancel it. But guess what? It's on HBO Max. And guess what you can do with HBO Max? Good or bad, you can shape your own narrative. Zack Snyder's Justice League did a lot better than the execs wanted you to know, but they buried it. They did everything they could. So if the new regime doesn't give a rat's ass about the direction for Batgirl, they can bury it beneath their numbers and do whatever they want with Batgirl. And the reason why they would stop these things is because these new people will have a vision of their own. They can only inherit so much of this other stuff before their plans get stunted to the point where you're talking about years. They bought these IPs in this company for a reason. They didn't buy it so that they could keep it going in the direction that it was going. They bought it so that they could establish their own direction. So at some point, there has to be a line of delineation to where the old regime stops and the new regime starts. And I don't think beyond certain projects that you're going to see this drastic direction lead from the Flash movie. It'll be left there, and I think the new people will take it up from there. I think the Flash movie and some things around it will be the line of demarcation. All right, but going forward, there's not going to be many of these projects.
You guys saw Jim Lee, right? He at Fandom, he teased that basically what they're trying to do is lead up to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and in the live action in the movies. So
I think they're just having some fun with that. I don't think that's a serious thing. Maybe that's it'll eventually get there. But I don't think they have any real steps towards that. They're actually.
Well, we don't know that. Mapping out because they're not saying anything. You're assuming there's no plan.
But I see what Jose is saying. Is a lot has to do with what happens in the Flash, and we're kind of jumping to a lot of conclusions when it comes.
Well, no, I'm going back. I'm jumping backwards from conclusions.
So you're doing what Barry does.
Well, no, I don't think it matters.
The last shot. Go ahead. Sorry, Will.
I don't think it matters what happens in the Flash if that's not where the new people want to go.
No, it does for sure. It's gonna be the last shot of the movie could literally be what the Justice League is gonna be from now on. It's gonna be Barry. You're gonna have Wonder Woman. You're gonna have Aquaman.
I have a shot of Joker in Darkseid and things. I have a last shot in my head from Zack Snyder.
And that's
a whole other situation,
man.
Other you really, William. They did not want that, but Zach fucking said, "Well, that's what you're getting," and they didn't fucking. They said, "Fine." They didn't want that. They didn't want that cliffhanger at the end.
If you're talking about a new creative direction,
even now, I'm talking about recently too. I'm saying.
No, I'm talking about going forward. But why would you expect incoming people to follow someone else's narrative? Why wouldn't they? You don't think they're going to come in with their own ideas?
But that's
their own direction?
How were they going to change the Flash's ending? Like,
no, I'm not so. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Flash. That's it. But these things that are going to derive from the Flash, these other things going forward, I don't think are going to happen to that point. I think they are going to take the Flash and interpret it to what they're going forward.
I don't know. I just don't know what else was happening after besides like spin-off.
That's what I mean. I don't think
even because I don't know who was it earlier. Was it you, Kerry, that said that if Zaslav comes in and then says, "Okay, let's get some reshoots in on the Flash or whatever," because. Yeah, that was you, right?
Ray Fisher.
Yeah, I don't think that would. I don't think honestly that would happen.
We all want that to happen, but that all depends if Walter Hamada is gone or not. That's it.
Even if Hamada leaves and the new guy comes in, why wouldn't he be like, okay, so what do we got going on here? Okay, cool. All right, well, let's keep.
No, that would be an idea. That would be an idea of Muschietti, because I've always said that Muschietti was always wanting to have Ray Fisher in, but his stance on not working under Hamada's regime is the reason why. You know, I don't know. I know everybody always says like he was fired. He's fired. It's like no, he actually took a stance. He took a stance to be like not, to not be working under Hamada.
And then what's planned after that though? What's planned after? So we got Batgirl. What else?
Who knows, man?
We don't know.
That's my point. That's what I'm
okay. So like we have to. You said be patient.
We have to wait.
Did you just say be patient and let the new people plot out their path? But all these other plans. When you hear these announcements of things beyond the Flash, I'm like, I would take that with a grain of salt. Just let the new guys come in and.
I mean, literally, got Batgirl.
Yeah, well, that's why we're going to be patient and watch.
And that would be a reason to delay the Flash too. They push the.
And I wouldn't be surprised. That could happen. Like I said, the test screening, I would not be surprised, especially if Shazam's a fucking Christmas movie again. Yes, put it in November, please.
I don't think it's going to be a Christmas movie.
I know it won't be because that was.
See, you guys always with this Christmas thing. So the movie was going to come out. Instead of April, we're gonna wait almost a whole year until December to come out.
Dude, the problem with Shazam was
you got to realize they sandwiched it between Captain Marvel and Infinity War.
Yeah,
that was not a good strategy for that. It should have been released.
Sure. Oh, it didn't make that much money, but it was still successful and it being a good movie.
Yeah, but I think it would have done better if it was released around Christmas time.
It made $450.
I think it's a full-on Christmas movie. I watched it this Christmas, and I'm like, yeah it's a Christmas movie. Yeah, so I think. Yeah.
Honestly,
I like Shazam.
So do I.
I settled for Shazam though because, like I said, the guy that's flying in a cape that I wanted to see, I wasn't getting. So I went and saw this movie, and it turned out to be pretty good.
Because it reminded me of like those '80s movies, like those '80s movies that I grew up with watching.
Yeah, like Big. That's what Sandberg was trying to do, and I think he's going to bring us something special with the second one. He's got a bigger budget. Everything's going to be bigger.
Yeah, darker. We're talking about William. We're talking about Zaslav coming in and basically say, okay, like it's instead of like whatever it was that these movies were setting up, we go in a different direction. So then, do you find it then likely that within a year or so of Zaslav coming in, we're going to hear a green light for Man of Steel 2?
It all depends what he comes from his analysis, because what he's probably going to do is he's just going to take a look at everything. He's going to start with if I'm him, I start with how many people are watching Man of Steel on HBO Max a month? How many new people? How many unique people?
It's not even on HBO Max anymore.
Yeah.
Oh no, but he still has the numbers. He still has the numbers from when it was. He still has the numbers from when it was.
Well, I mean, if you if you go on HBO Max and you go like on the movies search thing, it tells you right there which movies are popular.
No, but he's going to have deep.
It'll rotate back on though.
I'm talking about right down to the molecule.
Oh, okay.
And then he's going to make a decision based on that. As far as Man of Steel 2, me personally, I don't know if you make another one. I think you finish the Justice League arc first, and then you decide whether you want Man of Steel. If you want Cavill to go forward as your Superman, do you want him to go? Listen, it's business. It's not a friendship. It's business. Do you want to wrap up Cavill first with the Justice League arc where you're at, and then put him on the big screen, and then continue whatever you want to do with Snyder? There's a lot of decisions to be made. Within a year.
The Snyder movies are going to be their own separate thing.
But what I'm saying is you may want to wrap up that in a pocket universe, depending on what you're left with after Flash.
We're going to do that in a comic book. What? Did I say that?
Yeah. And then go forward.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So if you want to, he may make a decision that you want to do Man of Steel, if on a big screen that's not attached to Zack Snyder's arc. He may come to that decision. He may want to give.
I think we could probably get something because Black Adam comes out in July, July or June. When does it come out?
One of
those, June or July. If Henry's in there, if he's teased at the end, I think that there will be an announcement after that about Henry coming back for another Man of Steel movie, because then that would build the hype up to him being in the Flash as well, and then build it up even more when we see him in the Flash too. Because if he has to be in Black Adam. There's no way. Somebody just said that about the screening that there was.
Yeah, hints. That there was a teasing.
There was hints to him, but they didn't show him. He probably might be in there. They're probably showing a screening of that he's not in. A cut of the movie that he's not in it. I think that if he's in that movie, if he's in Black Adam, I would probably say that they will announce another Superman movie after that.
They kept this scene out. They kept this scene out because they don't want to spoil it. Just like with Andrew and Toby.
Because they didn't take his body. That's why
they had to take the mustache off. That's why they didn't show it. They
had to take the mustache off. All right, guys, we're gonna have to wrap this up because I do have to get up early tomorrow, and we're going on 3 hours right now. I was like, I don't want to cut it off short, but I mean, this has been a great conversation for sure.
Well,
definitely.
If I can start off,
Jose came in here.
I have an announcement.
He has that effect.
Yeah.
So guys, I do have an announcement for Sunset of the Gods, something that we're going to be doing in the next several months and so on. All right. Right now, okay. One of the things I think you're probably aware of this. Look,
I got to split, but Eric, I'm going to watch the replay and get your announcement. I got to run.
All right, later, William.
All right, take it easy, William. Thanks.
Man, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
So what it is that look, we need casting. The sooner we get a full cast, the sooner we can actually start production, and therefore the sooner that y'all can start watching these episodes. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to have a casting event where we're going to announce, okay, we want people to audition for this specific role. And a little bit later, we'll want people to audition for this other specific role, and so on. Right now, so instead of, because before we were just saying, hey, we want people to audition for whatever, and then they were coming, and then people were coming in. And we've got a good amount. We haven't really announced all that we have yet, but we will. But in the meantime, we need, for example, we'll say, like, for example, let's say we would say, oh, we need someone to audition for Superman, or we need someone to audition for Lois, or we need someone to audition for this person or that person, or so on. Well, we're going to have, we don't have the date set yet for the first one, but we are going to announce bit by bit, maybe week for week, that, okay, we need an event. Okay, we need someone for this specific role. Everyone who thinks you can do it, come in and audition for this specific role. And then later we'll call for another one and so on. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
Well, good.
Yeah.
If I was talented enough, I'd audition. But good luck with that, Eric. I mean, what I've seen so far from it looks pretty cool, man.
Yeah, the animation's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. So, so is that all you got to say, Eric? Anything else you want to plug?
Not unless you want to say something.
No. What? All right, Carrie, the K Train. You have anything to plug? You want to?
No. I guess if you want to follow me on Twitter, KM Vanderberg, and yeah,
there you go. What about Doug? Anything?
At Doug Verby on Twitter. Did a deep dive on Spider-Man movies at my buddy's podcast at Nerd is the New Cool. Check it out if you're interested.
There it is. Listen to that. And then Jose, got anything?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter if you want to at Champagne Pepe. You can catch me tweeting about sports, movies. Sometimes, the occasional thirsty tweet, about certain celebrities. And that's about it.
I know the feeling, man.
Yeah, we all do it. We all do it. Anyways, great stream, guys. Appreciate the added support for being the patrons, I should say. So you guys are awesome, and thank you for everybody watching. And you guys have hopefully a good week. I'm like, man, I forgot. It is Sunday. God damn it!
Yeah, but, it's almost February.
I know, man. It's almost February. Jeez, hey, at least we're getting closer to the Batman. That's all that matters, right there.
February 10th, tickets on sale.
There it is, February 10th. Make sure you guys grab your tickets. And all right, guys, love you. Talk to you later.
Later, guys.